Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week in Pitman, New Jersey, a quiet street is sent into a panic over the heinous murders of some beloved people in their own home. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy, exciting, wild adventure that we like to call Small Town Murder. We have a crazy episode this week, as usual, as you know, as it is every week. It's murder. I mean, it's always going to be nuts, and we kind of pick ones that are weird, so you're going to get that.
They're good ones.
Not just like, oh, well, yeah, he robbed a 7-Eleven,
Right.
and he killed the clerk. Have a good night, everybody. That'd be a very boring episode. Very boring podcast. So we try to find something with some twists and some turns for you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to everybody, by the way, who came out this week in Missouri, Kansas City, and St. Louis.
You guys are unreal.
What great crowds you guys are. Yeah, the Midwest is the flatter and uglier the land, the more excited the people are for comedy shows, and it really is wonderful. Yeah. You look outside and it's brown and flat, but then you get into a little tiny room with a shitload of people in it. Stick a few hundred people in there, and man, you guys come alive. It's awesome. So thank you for that. Also, thank you to everybody this week who gave us reviews on Apple Podcasts. That purple icon, we don't understand why, but apparently it's part of their algorithm. It helps drive you up the charts. Right. So if you want to help out the show, that's a very, very good and pretty easy way to do it. Sure. Just give us 5 stars. It doesn't even matter what you say. You can type in whatever you want. Say, these guys are forcing me to do this, and it still counts. So that's wonderful if you could do that. Also, and thank you, by the way, to everybody who has. And also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com. All sorts of new merch. the cheer up bitch with the skeleton thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is awesome with the skeleton hand. It's the coolest thing. Looks awesome on a coffee mug and a blanket and a sweatshirt. Sarah got all sorts of stuff. So it looks really cool, though.
Does.
It looks awesome. So get that. Tickets to live shows. Small Town Murder. No, there's nothing for sale right now. Everything's sold out for the rest of the year. We're going to be in Texas here, Houston and Dallas, and then Milwaukee and Chicago. Those are sold out. April's Nashville show is sold out. There is a few tickets left for Crime and Sports the day after that, though, in Nashville in April, if you want to get those. Otherwise, we're going to announce very, very soon. They're finalizing it right now, our tour schedule for 2020. So we'll get you guys some new dates. Northwest, we're coming to you and all that sort of good stuff there. If you want to be a hero to our show, and I mean a hero, one of our producers who we're going to gush about and just fondly just say the greatest things about at the end of the show, you can do that really easily by heading over to patreon.com/crimeandsports or head over to PayPal and you can make a one-time donation if you want using our email address crimeandsports@gmail.com. That's also a good way to get hold of us.
Yes.
And where can they find those links?
Over there at shutupandgivememurder.com.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's probably, you can get it all from there, right there. Shutupandgivememurder.com. That said,
Also follow those social media links because from time to time these sold out shows, people can't make it to the shows.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
if they tweet us that they've got tickets, we like to retweet that and get those people the opportunity to get their money back and also get somebody else that couldn't get tickets the opportunity to get into the show.
Especially, some of these smaller rooms, like when we do comedy clubs, those sell out real quick. And there's, they sell
and they
out,
get them in months in advance and then things come up. So if people can't make it to the show, we'd like to get them their money back and also get you who wants to be at the show.
Plus, it's a fun little community.
Right.
People are nice in there. It's a good deal.
And it keeps you from having to go to some third-party website
you don't do that and getting ripped off.
That's some ridiculously priced horse shit.
We don't want anybody doing that at all. So, and with that said, I think it's time for the disclaimer as well here. This is a comedy show. It's a comedy podcast.
It is.
We're going to talk about murder. It's going to happen, but we're going to make jokes all around the murder. Sure. But what we try not to do, we go out of our way not to do, is to make jokes at the expense of the victim or the victim's family.
Why do we do that?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
Now you know.
That's how it works there. So if that sounds good to you, I think we're going to have a great time and everything's going to be wonderful. If it doesn't, if you think true crime and comedy and murder and jokes just shouldn't ever go together, don't listen to the show. I don't think you're going to like it. That's the thing. We're not terrible people. No. Like we said, assholes, not scumbags. Right. We don't say things that are going to probably offend you, but if you just don't like that at all, then maybe take a walk. Maybe it's a bad blind date. And we went, oh God, I didn't realize that you were, 7'2", and you're 4'11", and it's not going to work out.
You're still gorgeous. You're just too big
great.
for us.
We're great, but we're just not. We were the 7'2" in that scenario, but it's fine.
You know what I mean.
So with that said, though. With that said, if you want to have a good time and you want to listen to an insane story and you're on board with this, I think it's time to celebrate that fact by sitting back and shouting, "Shut up
and give me murder."
Let's do this, Jimmy.
All right.
Let's go on a trip.
Great.
Let's do this.
I'd like it.
All right. We're going back to the East Coast here, going up to the Northeast, making fun of the Florida of the North, New Jersey.
Great.
So that's always wonderful.
Yeah.
Going to Jersey that's always an exciting task for us because it's very easy to make fun of.
So easy.
Especially I'm from New York, and it's been a lifelong thing for me. So it's
almost like they enjoy it.
It's almost like that. It's like they're asking for it.
Right.
Pitman, New Jersey. We're going to Pitman, not TT. Which you would seem like.
Right.
But what are you going to do? It's in Southwest New Jersey, which the way it ends up, it's like all of New Jersey, a panhandle. Yeah. There's not any part of New Jersey that can't be construed as a panhandle. Yeah. So it's all panhandle. It's all panhandle behavior. Yeah. It's about 25 minutes to Philadelphia. So it's like kind of right over there to Philly, just east of Philadelphia. About an hour and 50 minutes up to New York City.
Just across that river.
Over there.
What is that river?
To Philly. Which one?
I don't know. I remember when we were in Philly, they were like across that water over there is Jersey.
Is
it water or is it a river?
Basically, across any filthy water in the Northeast is New Jersey. So if you see filthy water and land on the other side of it, that's probably Jersey. That's how we'll just leave
fantastic.
it at that. This is about an hour to Middle Township, New Jersey, which is episode 92. It's our last Jersey episode.
Wowza.
And this is in Gloucester County. It's zip code 080. 6071. I love it when we're in the zeros.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Some of the first.
Yeah, this is the base of the whole thing here. Area code 856 and 2.3 square miles. Not a big town. There's a lot of these Jersey towns are kind of little towns, all kind of dabbed in there together. It's got several mottos. It's just, they're so desperate.
Yeah.
This is a town that's like that kid in school who's like, come over, I have all the Nintendo games and I have this and just please like me. And you're just like, dude, just be yourself and be cool. Like, I get it that it's, you feel bad and you want to like them, but at the same time, it's just desperate. Listen to the guy
that's like, I've got all the brand new games. You can take them home with you.
You want to borrow them? Right. It's cool. My mom won't mind. It's totally cool, dude.
Don't you know what you're doing right now? You're making me take your shit.
I have other games.
And also, it's making me spend time away from you.
But that's okay, though. But
you're trying to get me to be your friend, and you're giving me the opportunity to be away from you.
Tell people good things about me. I feel like that's the goal here. Just maybe if the word spreads that I'm a cool guy.
Go out and spread all the good rumors.
I'll find out. Yeah, I think that's what it is. They're just building a brand. These kids, they're trying. I got to build a brand.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who lets you borrow his games. That's my brand. Okay.
And then go tell all the girls that I have a huge penis.
Tell them like, it was weird and you were peeing on a bush and it was just huge. You took half the bush out. Tell the girls that. So listen to these mottos. We have mottos here. The first motto is, quote, the small town with a big heart.
Oh, no.
So that's motto number one, okay? Motto number two, just even more desperate. They get more desperate as it goes. Motto number two, they have three.
Yeah.
Motto number two, quote, everybody likes Pitman.
Is that real?
That's literally real. Everybody likes Pitman, is right?
Or the question mark?
What do you think?
Yeah.
And there's and then the desperation on the third motto, it reaches a fevered pitch at this point. Their third motto is, quote, free money and blowjobs. I mean, Jesus, come on, man. That's just desperate.
Be mayor for a day. Everybody gets a chance.
It's ridiculous. Free money and blowjobs. That's good. Now you're just bribing people at this point. Forget about it. Never mind. What happened to the big heart? So
all the oral you can stand.
Hey, all day long.
That's a joke about from I think it was a Greg Giraldo joke that he's like, it's very arrogant of New York to say that it's the greatest city in the world. What if there's another city that like nickels cost a blowjob and there's guys that run around that just give you nickels? How do we know that city doesn't exist?
Yeah. There you go. Well, it does. It's called Pitman, New Jersey. Boy, that's their fourth town motto.
Yeah.
Blowjobs cost a nickel. Here's a nickel.
Here's a handful of nickels.
Well, free money.
Here's a roll of nickels.
Yeah. So, history of this town here. Yeah. This town in 1871, this land was chosen to be set aside for a Methodist summer camp. Okay, this area over here, in this area. The New Jersey Conference Camp Meeting Association was chartered and given authority over the land grant in 1872, and they started planning campgrounds and organizing church meetings. New Jersey, every time we do it, every town was started for some religious thing.
Yeah.
Like every ocean town started as some like religious retreat, and then it turned into like for health reasons.
Blowjobs and nickels.
And then it's just, you go there for nickel blowjobs because, it's disgusting there.
Right.
There's syringes washed up on the beach. So,
it's worth the blowjob is a nickel, but it's also worth a nickel.
The Jersey Shore people are spreading their syphilis around again. That's on television again.
Yeah.
They're spreading it again. So it's really it's been a lot. So the land, I guess, is they had an auditorium that was located on a central meeting ground, and there's 12 roads originating from the central area that are like spokes. Yeah. They go out as spokes. What else is there 12 of?
Monkeys.
12 monkeys. Yes. Think religion.
So it's disciples? Is that
apostles.
Apostles. Jesus, what am I doing?
That's why there's 12. Jesus, who are you? Who are you with? How many? Right. Well, we're building fucking roads over here, and I need to know how many to build.
Right.
Do we build one for Jesus too? Is that so? The middle's for and then everything. Okay, the middle.
How about that?
Jesus gets the center.
13
square.
Is a bad number, but there were 12 apostles, and Jesus makes 13.
It makes 13.
That's weird.
I think Jesus gets the middle. He's the center square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the center.
He's the center square.
He's the Shadow Stevens. Was that who was in the center?
Nah, he was off to the side.
He was
somewhere.
the announcer, right?
Yeah.
Who was the center square all the time?
Somebody was. Lately, it was Whoopi Goldberg in the last run. She was always in the middle. I think she was like the executive producer or something. So
I forget who it was, but it was somebody all the goddamn time.
Yeah, so whoever's like their most gravitas gets center square because they get called on the most because that's the first one everyone goes for. So it's Hollywood Squares is what we're discussing in case you don't know. John Davidson was the host.
Oh, that's right.
That mannequin-looking son of a bitch back in the 80s. Did he kill
himself?
No, that's Ray Combs. That's the Family Feud guy.
There you go.
That
Want
to talk about Wink Martindale? Because we'll get into it, Jimmy. I used to love game shows when I was a kid.
I love Gene Rayburn. Oh, he's fantastic.
When I was a kid, give me syndicated shitty game shows. What are they playing? Cards now? Great. That's fine. How about a whammy? No? All right, good. None of that either. Let's go. Move it. We'll keep them rolling.
Spin a wheel or draw a card. I will watch.
Joker's wild. So yeah. Anyway, so I assume Jesus is the auditorium, and then all the apostles spread from there.
Got it.
I assume here worshippers' tents originally lined each of the 12 rows, all sorts of tents, and then the cottages came in after that to replace the tents, and that's how the town started.
Okay.
They went from religious tents of people hanging out to worship the center Jesus Square, and then they built permanent housing like that. So yeah, by the 1880s they had about a ton of cottages and for about 400 cottages, and people started staying year round. At first it was just like a summer thing, a summer retreat, and so then they put a public school in finally in the 1880s, and in 1904 residents of Pitman Grove, which is that area, voted 122 to 35 for incorporation. So there you go. It became a damn town.
Circle gets the square.
Circle gets the square. Your turn.
You're a town.
Let's do it. You're a town now. So it's mainly, though, it was just religious shit. It's weird when you enter the Pitman Grove area. It's a big metal arch, like an old timey cemetery that says Pitman Grove and foreboding weird metal letters.
Really?
I'll post a picture with the episode. That's what it looks like. The entrance of a concentration camp.
Damn it.
Or a religious festive center. I'm not sure. Whichever one. It looks scary, though, because it's the 1800s. Everything is like iron and frightening. You know, it's one of those things. So that's when they built it.
Concrete block.
That's what it looks like. I'll post that. That'll be the picture of the town, obviously, on social media because it's scary. So there you go. It's at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Murder Small on Twitter. Find that at Small Town Pod on Facebook. Yeah. So you can see it. But it's very, very strange there. There's the 12 roads are very narrow, and there's little houses on these little lots. They're 30 by 40 foot lots.
That's not big at all.
Not big at all. Little tiny. They were tents originally.
It's like 4 easy ups.
That's basically what it is. It's kind of like it's like a shanty town, but not. But it's like, nice. But
and that was a lot.
Those were little lots because those were people. At first, they were just there to worship for a while, and then they became permanent year-round residences. And now it's New Jersey, for Christ's sake. You can.
How big a house is on that?
Not very. No. If it's a 30 by 40 lot,
that's a one room.
You'd need it to be tall,
right.
I guess.
Yeah,
You'd need multiple floors.
That's
all
what
I can think. That's all I can imagine here. Now there's the Broadway Theater there, which is this cool looking old theater that they have. That's kind of their claim to fame, I guess, as far as for shit to do. There was this guy named Lacey. He became I'm sorry, Jesus, I messed it all up here. It's a guy named Henry Carr, Dr. Henry Carr. This other guy named George Washing Carr, who was one of his relatives. They bought a bunch of land that became the site of the Broadway Theater. They had a lake and a park that was named the Alcyon, I guess. And they had fishing and boating and a boardwalk and a bathhouse and a merry-go-round, bowling alleys, a casino, roller skating rink, and other shit. And in 1905, they staged the fall of Port Arthur, a naval battle on the lake, which seemed they performed it by the people who lived there.
That's awesome.
Performing a naval battle, which seems that
seems elaborate,
like a lot. They had horse racing there, but during the 30s, all this went downhill, and then in the 40s, it was taken over for tax liens and sold for $5,200 at public auction.
Wow,
so that's some sad shit. Post World War II,
this place used to be happening. $5,200
used to be.
I
don't know. 55. It's a little high. 52. How about 52? 52. I'll give you 50. I'm not going a cent higher.
What year was this?
Not a penny higher. 1945.
Wow.
Post World War II. This whole area, an area big enough to stage naval battles on and have amusement rides.
That's so rad.
Their website is hilarious because it's what year are these websites being built in? This one says, welcome, ! Welcome to our new and improved website.
New and improved.
If your website says welcome to our website, it's a shitty website. Okay? That's terrible.
You need to new and improve it again.
Yeah, feel free to browse for all that Pitman, New Jersey has to offer. Dining, entertainment, services, and shopping. Check back often for updated content. That's what a website is. You didn't have to explain what that is. That's like every time you got into McDonald's, they were like, this is a hamburger restaurant. Order the food at the counter, and then they do this, and you take it home and eat, and you get nutrients, and then you shit. We don't need to explain it. We know what it's there for. You give me food, I take it home, I eat it, and I shit it out. That's how it works. This is... unnecessary shit here.
Come back to our website.
Come back to our website periodically where we might update more information that you can browse through, as is the purpose of a website. Right. Did we explain it thoroughly enough? There's a Q&A at the end of this, an FAQ in case you really need to know more.
Don't forget to pay your cable bill so that you can get your internet and come back to our webpage.
Come back to our webpage. Jesus Christ.
Don't forget to turn your electricity on so you can turn your computer on and then pay your cable bill and come back to our webpage.
Please come back to our webpage is what we're saying. We really need you to come back. I don't know why. It doesn't help us any, but come back. People from this town, and notable people. We have a Joe Crispin, he played for the Suns and Lakers in the 80s, or I'm sorry, in the late 90s there. We have, let's see, a few other people here. A Miss New Jersey from 2004.
Hell yeah.
Oh, boy. And then Jane Moffitt, who played for 4 seasons in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League in the 40s, one of the League of Their Owners. I'm not sure. It doesn't say, but I could have looked it up.
Was she a peach?
Doesn't really matter.
Was she a goddamn peach?
It doesn't matter. Either way, she played the damn thing, and I'm very happy about that.
She played one of 6 teams. Wasn't it 6?
I think there were 6. They might have expanded to 8 and then contracted to 4 at some point and then went away.
And then it was all done.
That's sad. So we have a resident review of this town, which I always love. These are like my favorite thing in the world.
They're really great to hear somebody who should know better.
Yeah.
for you know what I mean? For real. They should know better, that we know that it sucks. It's a small town.
This is one of this. I love when they have a very specific beef with the town too. Those are my favorite reviews where you're like, this person's taking out their really personal.
Makes you want to give them a call and be like, what's the story?
What happened?
Tell me.
Tell me all about it.
I gotta know.
You just touched on it here. You just painted the outside of it. You
ran over and tagged it and didn't tell us shit.
Connect the dots. Paint a picture for me here. Resident review, quote, I do not like Pitman. Okay, they have a big heroin problem mixed with an overstepping police force. So you have junkies and apparently police force who's overzealous about the junkies. I'm not sure. Their focus, their resources. I assume that's supposed to be they. Yeah. They focus their resources on petty things like overnight parking tickets instead of catching real criminals. This person's got a bunch of parking tickets.
So many.
He picked one up and he's like, "There's fucking junkies sleeping under my car. You're giving me the fucking ticket? Are you kidding me? Look over there. The fucking guy he's just shit himself in public on the fucking sidewalk, and I get a ticket." That's what he said.
A junkie nodded off on my hood while you wrote this.
That's what he's thinking. Quote, spent a ton of money on a police dog which doesn't do anything. What's it going to do? It gave me an overnight parking ticket. That's what it gets. That's all I ever see. Taxes are high, and most people that live here will never leave. Is that bad? You want a town with constant turnover?
Right.
If you want to experience a
new
good
face at McDonald's because the other guy moved?
That's what I mean. I like how this person opens and closes succinctly. Opens with, I do not like Pitman.
Right.
And closes with, if you want to experience a good living environment, look elsewhere. So he's got an opening and a closing. He followed some direction here, but he's a very particular beef. He got a ticket once, yet he sees junkies everywhere, and he's like, they're not getting tickets. Well, I get an overnight parking ticket. I pay taxes, and you give me a ticket? And then it all went into that review.
My taxes went to a goddamn police dog, and you're giving me tickets?
2 stars.
For parking.
Yeah.
That's what the fucking dog's doing?
I think that's what the extra stars for. The dog's cute.
At least they got a dog.
He's cute. He's a cute little fucker. I got to give him that. So, you know what? 2 stars.
Speaks German.
That's it. Well, that's a little frightening. This town hit peak population in 1970 when they had over 10,000 people. They kind of went up slowly, and since then they've gone back down a little bit slowly. That was their peak, though. People in this town, that's because people have left Philly, too. Around that time. So, population here, 8,886.
It's a good amount.
So it's a decent amount, down a little over 5% since 1990.
Really?
So yeah, people have left. It's been, like I said, 10,000 in 1970, 10,250 in 1970. We're back down a little bit.
So the guy that writes the reviews full of shit. People do leave.
People do leave. Well, they die probably is what happens, because all the young demographics are low. All the old demographics are high in this town. People don't leave. They do stay forever and die there. More females, which is 53% female, which is a definite indicator that the population's older. That's how that works, because you bastards outlive us, you fuckers.
You seem
all the time
furious about it.
Well, why should you live longer? I'm willing to give any advantage you want. I'm for, advancing all of women's things, but you can't fucking live longer too. No, that's just not fair. I just want to live the same amount.
Well, that's the other thing, too.
That's all.
If you're not making as much as a man, the good news is you'll make it up in years. Stay on the job a couple years longer.
Ladies and gentlemen, somehow Andrew Jackson. I know that's Andrew Jackson's not known for misogyny, but I'm sure he had to. At one point, he said a similar statement there. That's Jimmy trying to joke. So yeah. But I want equality of death. I want death equality. I want to die the same as you. Not fair.
Right.
So 50-50 married population is the same as usual, right on the money. Most of the stats are pretty close to normal, except there's less single people with children. Seems like with people with kids seem to stay together here more, whereas a lot of the other people are old, and so they're aged out of kids at that point. We do have race of this town, 89% white.
Okay.
Pretty white.
Yeah.
2% black.
Oh.
2% black in New Jersey.
It's crazy.
Right outside of Philadelphia, right outside of Camden, and an hour and a half from New York City. So that seems on purpose.
Right.
That seems on purpose to me. That's because it's not like an expensive town that would be like, let's price all the minorities out of it. And there's like 8 rich people living there. It's not like that with big giant estates or no room for houses.
This is all inclusive, and
but it seems on purpose. Something's going on. Something's going on keeping somebody out of somewhere. About 2% Asian here. Even Hispanic is less than 3%. So it's pretty white town. Religion, it's right on the money, 50-50. It's about 49%. Weird thing is, more Baptist than I've ever seen this far north. 9% Baptist.
Which is high.
That's high for New Jersey.
Damn near 10%.
Outside of Philly. Yeah. Of course, though, 27% Catholic, because Catholics are the Baptists of the North. So that's how that works, obviously.
Yeah.
Listen to this. This has to be 0.0% Jewish. In New Jersey, outside of Philly, an hour and a half from New York City. That seems on purpose.
What's happening
I'm
here?
Fucking sorry. That seems, I don't like what's happening in this town. There's some weird shit going on here. Really weird shit here. 0.5% Muslim, a couple Muslims there. 47.3% of the people, basically last time, 47% voted Democrat, 47% voted Republican in the presidential election. So in the county. So
right
it's
at the middle.
Absolute swing county here. Now the unemployment rate's right on the money, a little under 4% as for the rest of the country. Median household income is high though. Normally it's a little under 58,000. Here it is about $73,500.
How about that?
Little bit high for income, and as we'll talk about, the cost of living is kind of low. The jobs pretty much on the money. I mean, you can commute to Philly, so it's one of those things. You don't really have to work in Pitman. You can go find some other employment somewhere. So a lot of educational services because there's colleges all around in that area, and a few more healthcare jobs because there's more old people.
Right.
Cost of living, 100 is average, regular, par. Here it is 103. Which is almost pretty close. And the low thing, though, is housing, which you never see that on the East Coast,
never.
Especially in New Jersey. Housing's a 90.
What the
Shocking.
fuck?
That's what I mean.
People are making 78 grand, 73. What did you say?
70.
70 something.
73 and a half. I'm
with a
sorry
90
about
in
that.
housing.
Man, yeah, that's you got me there. 73. Median home cost $178,300.
Wow,
which is shockingly low for New Jersey. Very, very low. Most of the houses are between 150 and 300 grand.
What is happening?
So there's a lot in there. Those are like 65% of the houses. 25% of the people here are renters too. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of rental shit as well. So it's a very, affordable place.
I can't believe I like Jersey right now.
It's very interesting. Yeah. Well, if you like it more than you think you do, we have for you, Jimmy, this could be useful, the Pitman, New Jersey Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is $1,200 a month, which seems that's high. That's your national average, and it's under to buy. So you're better off buying here. That's because there's so many renters, though. Okay. So that makes sense. I found a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 806 square foot, but it's a freestanding, its own little house. Okay. $62,000.
That's super affordable.
It needs some work and shit like that, but it's $62,000 for a house. You can't get an SUV for that.
Right.
So
your house rich.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I found a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,563 square foot, kind of, starter home for kids. It's 1.5 bath. Vinyl siding wonder. One of those vinyl siding Jersey, neighborhood wonders here. 160 grand. Wow. That's your base level entry kind of that. Then you want to spread out a little bit. This is pretty much the most expensive house for sale in town right now.
In the whole thing.
The whole thing. 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,998 square feet, just shy of 4,000. $307,000.
What a deal.
It's nice to walk up. It's got good curb appeal.
On the East Coast.
On the East Coast, half hour outside of Philly.
Doesn't happen.
You can go to New York City. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's
Jesus.
Not a bad place, maybe.
I hope somebody listening to this that lives in Philly buys that shit and commutes.
Yeah, just commute it. Philly's expensive.
Where?
Forget it.
I'm buying it.
I'm just going to drive. Things to do in this town. This is hilarious, this whole thing. Well, they had a thing to do. Now they don't anymore. Starting in 2017, they had the Pitman Potter Festival, which is the Harry Potter festival.
Get out of my life.
I'll read right from their website here. This is when it was first starting. They were very excited.
2017?
2017.
Like
a little late on it. The festival begins on Friday evening at 6 p.m. with a showing of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone at the Broadway Theater. The festivities continue Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a variety of activities for all ages, including a sorting ceremony in the Pitman Grove Auditorium, a defense against the dark arts class at Sunset Auditorium, magical entertainment at Ballard Park in Uptown Pitman, and much more. Many businesses are joining the fun and offering themed menus, activities, and items. Pitman Gallery and Art Center will be hosting its themed exhibit, Harry Potter, and will be raffling a signed framed print from the published illustrator. The Gallery and Art Center is also planning some enchanting Saturday evening entertainment. While some of the activities will be offered free of charge, a $5 wristband will be required to enter the main events.
I hate this so much.
$5. You know how that goes. Wristbands go on sale. There's a limited amount of wristbands, so I mean you got to get them right away. It's a non-profit event run by volunteers. Goes to the Chamber of Commerce. Then their last thing they say is very prescient here. Quote: Warner Brothers Entertainment and J.K. Rowling are not associated.
They have nothing to do with
as
this.
If you thought they were, like you thought they were sponsoring this. Not associated or responsible for the festival in any way, and we hope they won't send us to Azkaban for expressing our enthusiasm. Okay, so
what happened?
The next year, they weren't allowed to call it the Pitman Potter Festival anymore because they got a copyright claim.
Yeah.
They called it the Pitman Festival that must be named or that must not be named. Pitman Festival that must not be named. But the Warner Brothers said, not good enough. Shut it down, fuckers. So it was the last one there. They were contacted shortly that said that Warner Brothers, quote, enforcement of Warner Brothers copyrights and trademarks would be much stricter than we anticipated, is what they said. Yeah, they protect that stuff. You can't just...
Fucking idiots.
Oh, my God. But, I mean, honestly, this isn't taking money out of their pocket also. This is promoting their movies.
Yeah.
And
it's also...
movies.
I mean, now it's so late.
Stupid, but yeah.
It's hilarious is what it is.
And this is the Chamber of Commerce's statement. It's a rare gift as an adult to be given the chance to turn a fantasy world into a reality. Although the magic of Pitman took the form of Pitman Potter Festival in 2017 and 18, those of us who live here know what a magical community Pitman is year-round. No more.
How fucking petty is Warner Brothers?
Says Warner Brothers.
That's disgusting.
Nevermore.
They refuse to let 8,000 people that live in their own town
dick around, watch a Harry Potter movie, and make some themed drinks.
It's grown adults with a fucking twig in their hand.
Who cares?
Gives a fuck?
So stupid. Crime rate in this town, besides that last stupidity.
I want them to continue it. I'll fucking come. You put that thing on, I'll get on a plane.
I don't even like Harry Potter.
I don't either. I've never seen a single thing. I'm not going to.
Worst.
But I will come celebrate that horse shit with you. You
start
that thing
up
again.
Because this is ridiculous. Yeah. You know what? Screw you, Warner Brothers. Yeah. How dare you enforce copyright
jerks.
On a town? It's not even like I could see if Philly was doing one, and but even then, it's promoting your show. It's whatever. I could see that, but it's a small town, dicking off. Who cares?
It's people breaking sticks and calling it a Harry Potter wand,
and chasing
each
other around.
Somebody bought.
They're
going to
have a sorting ceremony where we're going to. Oh, you're this one, and you're that. Great. That's terrific. Crime rate in this town.
Who's that? A Warner Brothers?
Fuck, I don't know.
What a joke that fuck.
Well,
what a jerk.
We're trying to make stuff. Let's not besmirch entire networks at the moment. Don't be dicks, Warner Brothers. Maybe something's going to happen. Who knows? So, crime rate in this town. Property crime is a little over half the usual rate. So, it's low. And then also violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is about 1/3 the national average. So, very low. So, considering its location to other places with very high crime and murder rates, this is a very low thing. I don't know what's happening in this town.
James,
it's creepy and weird.
They're Harry Potter fans. It's a bunch of fucking nerds.
I guess, but they're old people there. I don't know what's going on. It seems like there's old people who don't want black people or no Jewish people at all in here. I don't know what's happening in this town. It's just strange, but it's very safe, I guess, which is why our murder is such a strange murder. Which, you know what? Let's talk about a murder.
I can't wait.
I think we should.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, it's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss this is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your
all different.
Multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure, yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com. Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
So, my goodness, this is exact murder that you would expect to not happen in this town. Okay. Put it that way. It's a quiet town. It's a nice town. It's a town where people, can go outside and hang out in their yards and not think that somebody's going to come up and bonk them on the head and empty their pockets or anything. It's a nice town. It's a nice place.
A bunch of people casting spells and shit.
If you're old and pretty white, this is probably the place you want to be, where you can run around and pretend to play. What the fuck is the name of that stupid Quidditch. Run around and pretend to play. I'm flying. No, you're not, Bob. Bob, you're running with your fucking wife's broom in your hand, you stupid idiot. You're not flying, stupid. You're an adult. Your kid is looking at you funny.
Throwing a bocce ball through his neighbor's window, talking about he scored.
Bob, your grandkids are laughing at you. How's that feel? How's it feel to have your grandchildren laughing in your face?
This is a time where I regret that I didn't watch any of the Harry Potter stuff.
I would have much more references.
Harry Potter references destroy, too. People love talking about that stupid shit.
We don't know anything about it. I know Slytherin.
I know
I know
Quidditch. I know
guy.
There's an owl
and a ginger kid
and Dobby, whoever the fuck that is.
There's an unfortunately pigmented ginger child. There's that chick.
Guy with a long beard.
Harry Potter took his dick out on a stage when he was done with Harry Potter. I know that's a thing.
What?
Right? He did some naked show. Harry Potter. Yeah, because he didn't want to be Harry Potter. That's one way to do it. That's what all those kid stars do. As soon as they're adults, they're like, I need to show my vagina/penis right now, or everyone's going to think I'm just a kid actor.
Right.
See Showgirls to let you know. It's like, I need to gyrate in the most unnatural and uncomfortable and unhuman, for that matter, inhuman form possible to show everyone
also
that I'm not Jesse Spano. Yeah, unchildlike. Watch me. But she looks like a child who's does. I saw someone dance seductively once, and I think, is this seductive? But there's no, feeling to it. That's Showgirls. If I gyrate like that, you can see it, so that means it's seductive. Here are my boobs.
It's
That's good, right?
essentially the equivalent of Jesse Spano gyrating in a chair on carpet, trying to make it move. That's what you just
That's what I do. Yeah, I was like, is that what's happening? Is this good now?
Jesse Spano looks like she's trying to make a roller chair move on carpet.
Did I do okay? Do you think I'm a grown-up now? Is this... Can I get roles?
Yeah. Matter of fact, you will get no more roles, Jesse.
No, you're done, actually, forever.
That's the last one.
And people are going to make fun of you for,
forever.
I don't know, at least 23 years, because I think it's 96, 95, 95, I don't know, somewhere in the mid-90s.
See if you can outrun Monica Lewinsky's jokes.
At least a quarter century. This is going to haunt you. You're going to be a punchline.
Forever.
So,
it's over.
Yeah. Stand next to Chris O'Donnell. Yeah, he's back. He was Robin. Stand next to him. He thought it was good too. Everybody thought it was a good idea. His agents told him. They told you. Everybody thinks it's a good idea at the time, but now you stand over there with him, of the people whose careers are over. There you go.
Screech will be there in a minute.
No. Oh, no. Screech is in the next room. There's a Never Had a movie. They never even gave him a shot to be an adult actor. They were just like, Screech? Fuck no. Get out of here.
Remember when he stabbed a guy?
He can stand in for Pauly Shore or something. If we're lighting, he can come in for Pauly, but then he has to leave. He can't speak. We don't want him to say anything.
Keep your dick in your pants, sir.
Oh, my God. All right, enough 90s references. Blast from the past. Let's just talk about Brendan Fraser for 20 minutes. So let's talk about this murder. Let's get into a couple of people here. Let's talk about Bruce and Alice Sharp.
Okay.
They are a couple, a married couple. They've been married many, many years.
Yeah,
over almost 40 years, basically.
Based on Bruce and Alice.
Bruce and Alice Sharp. And we're going to go all the way back to 1984 here.
Okay.
So we're going to fly back in time to 1984 and, figure this out here. Now, in 84, Bruce is 63 years old and Alice is 59 years old. Their children are adults. They're grown up. Bruce has just retired as a mechanic. He was a mechanic for 40 years and he retires. And Alice is an elementary school teacher.
Great.
Currently, she still is. She's a second grade teacher in the Sewell School in Mantua. And her husband was a mechanic at the Texaco plant in Eagle Point.
Oh, goodness.
So, I mean, yeah, they worked their lives and they're just coming to the end of it. They like to garden a lot and things like that.
The bluest collars.
Yeah, the blue collars, and now they're just like slowing down and they're enjoying their retirement and this sort of thing, and they're looking forward to maybe some grandkids eventually, and that sort of thing here. She, like I said, she was a second grade teacher. They lived in this home. It's a 2-story home with white siding. It's your typical nice little house that you'd see in New Jersey. Not a big house, not a sprawling house, not a shack.
Very modest.
Like our second house from the real estate report. One of those. Just like a nice little house. Vinyl siding wonder type of deal. And it's on a nice quiet little street too. There's a quiet street with only 6 houses on it. So very quiet little cul-de-sac street. So it's a, very idyllic little area here.
Kind of place.
You're going to retire. Well, not really, because there's 6 other houses and the location. Except for the neighbors and the location. It's my kind of place.
But I mean, your street now has 12.
Yeah. No, but I want like a
0.
Yeah, I want 0. I like when
if I can get to a street where there's one house and it's mine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like without my name on it, though, I don't want anybody to know that. Now, if remember when we went looking for OJ's house in Brentwood and we were driving around? Yeah. That's what I like. Those fucking 25-foot high bush tree things all around. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have an estate like that, obviously. That's very expensive. But if I could just have a regular house with like 25-foot bushes around, that would be perfect. That'd be great.
A cul-de-sac that's like half a mile long, and there's 2 houses on it, one for either side of the street.
Yeah,
that would be good.
I'd like that. And if you could just avert your gaze when you come outside, so you don't have to wave. We don't have to wave. We know we're here.
Just keep your eyes straight down the fucking hood,
unless
sir.
You got something to say. Unless my house is on fire, I don't need to know anything. It's okay.
Straight down the hood.
Yeah, they lived here. They've lived here forever. Basically, they've raised their kids here. This is their place, and now they're going to retire here. In one of her reports, Alice Sharp, from the superintendent, one of her teacher, whatever evaluations, I guess. She'd been a teacher in the district since 1962.
Jesus.
1962. Good so at this point, over 20 years in this district. It said that she started out as a substitute and then has been a full-time teacher for 15 years.
Oh.
So she came in that way. And
she stuck around with that substitute shit.
Back then, you had to, teaching jobs were a good thing that people wanted. Yeah. Now it's like, when the fuck can you don't, all right, I know you didn't graduate yet, but we're going to let you teach anyway.
We're going to get you started.
We're going to give you a class.
Right.
Just to tell you what, make sure none of these kids stab each other for a while, like 40 minutes at a time, and then just get your degree whenever.
Yeah.
It's fine. We don't even know anymore.
It's been like that for a long time, too.
It's rough.
Because when I was in school, we had a teacher who was...
Active shooter drills. Just work on that, and then we'll figure out the rest of it later. Just make sure that they got that part down.
Teach them how to get under their desk without hurting themselves.
After that, we'll work on it. I don't know.
Curriculum?
Sad.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and the teachers, they want to do... It's like on The Wire, Jimmy. It's like the 4th season of The Wire. The teachers, if you ever know any teachers, all they want to do is really well. Yeah. They want to be the best teachers. They want their kids to be smart. Right. They want to teach them the right stuff, and it's not made easy by anybody that operates school districts.
Anybody that surrounds the education process outside of teachers,
it's rough.
Fucks everything.
It's a bad thing. Yeah,
they're just terrible at running it.
It's bad shit
from
here.
the pay on down.
Let the teachers figure. Give them more of a say. Maybe they're there. They know what's going on. They know what's up. I'm sure that when they design a car, they probably consult a mechanic at some point. And they
I'll bet you're right.
Hey, if we do this configuration, will it work like as a car?
Will this operate?
Will that run and we can drive and stuff? No? Oh, shit. Well, we better redesign it.
We better figure this out.
Maybe do that. So I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it. But I guess she was currently teaching second grade. Like we said, she was described in an evaluation, Alice was, as a, quote, sound fundamental teacher who paid attention to the details. Okay. So she's known as a nice lady and a good teacher. And so is Bruce, not a nice lady and a good teacher, but a good mechanic and a nice guy. So they have two sons. One is named John. He is 33 years old at this moment, and he's a PE teacher in Maryland at the time. So he's a gym teacher. Their other son, their first son, Bruce Jr., was killed in Vietnam.
Oh, my God.
Killed in 1968 during a Viet Cong ambush in Da Nang.
Jesus.
So, he was killed there, which was a rough one there. Lost a lot of people there. And he was the town's first fatality of the Vietnam War. So it was a big deal. And there was they kind of everybody, a lot of the people in the community know the Sharps because of this thing that happened with their son, because he was the first one, so it was a big deal, and they kind of rallied around him, and as a town would, I would imagine.
He's Laurie Piestua. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That I know.
No one knows what you're talking about.
I realize that.
You just made a very local reference, like North Phoenix.
No, well, she's in Tuba City, Arizona, and she was the first female Native American ever killed in combat, I think.
I'm not sure.
I don't know for sure.
I don't want to.
I know she was the first female killed in the Iraq-Afghanistan thingy-o.
The thingy-o over there. You know,
that old dust up.
That little thingy-o that happened.
That old skirmish that's still happening.
Thousands of people.
Anyway, we
trillions of dollars. That thingy-o.
We named a mountain after her, and awesome. I'm very aware of where Tuba City is because of that whole thing. So this is probably very similar. He's also somebody's. I saw my buddy die face down in the muck. He's somebody has that story.
That's the other thing too. Right. And then multiple people from the town afterwards died in the next couple of weeks.
Oh my God!
And there was a bunch in this area, and that was a heavy fighting area. So that's what happened. So April 30th, 1984, as we set the scene, 63-year-old Bruce, 59-year-old Alice, second grade teacher, retired mechanic. Yeah. They are, they're living their lives. They live kind of a very quiet life. I mean, they live on a quiet street. They're half retired.
Right.
She teaches second grade, which isn't like she's not like in the pits in like Wall Street shouting out trading numbers and shit like that. She's teaching second graders. They're relaxed people. So a woman named Susan Sayer, who is she's a neighbor of the Pitmans on the street. She gets a call from the secretary at the Sewell School where, God, why didn't they name it something easier to say?
I hate that so much.
Sewell School?
Is it Sewell?
Yeah, like the old Bronco.
God
Steve
damn it.
Sewell. Yeah,
that is fucked up.
Sewell School. That sounds so weird. And I'm purposely, it sounds like someone tried to make something that was hard to say. Like it's a tongue twister. You say it over and over again. The secondary Sewell School. District.
Just call it Sewell Elementary. You know what I mean? We could just call it school. We just call it Sewell.
Sewell School. Got to sing it.
It's the only way to get through it.
Yeah, Sewell School. So they said, which is a weird thing because she doesn't work for these people. So to get a call or have any students at the school, so it's a strange call to get. Hi, I work at the Great. That's nice. I fucking work here.
It's a pleasure.
Good to meet you. What are we talking about? It wasn't like, oh, I know what's going on. Alice, like we said, is a teacher, and Susan Sayer lives on this small street that Alice and Bruce live on. And I guess Alice didn't show up for work that day on April 30th. So that's abnormal for Alice. She's a pretty reliable lady. Yeah. She's not a real big partier.
No.
I mean, she'll go through some coke from time to time. I mean, she'll rip through it for 2 weeks on a binge, but you know when that's coming. You could see the bags under her eyes, and you can tell she's getting more irritable. Yeah. She starts kicking kids in the chest once in a while. You're like, oh, Christ, here it comes. Alice isn't going to show up for a couple weeks.
It's going to be 2 weeks of her calling in every day.
How it goes. But no, honestly, she's a very reliable, very non-coke addicted, very forthright woman here. As
a substitute teacher, her life was generally like, it could be on a whim. She could be called today for tomorrow's work. So
exactly,
she's probably pretty clean.
And that's the other thing. It's not like, oh, Christ, I've been drinking all night. I got to come in this morning. Like, that's not really with her. They're pretty stable people. Yeah. Enough to where if she doesn't show up, they start calling neighbors.
Yeah.
That's really reliable.
Start with the house next door and fan out from there. What I mean. What the fuck?
That's really reliable. Yeah. Not like, maybe she's sick and meant to call but fell asleep because she was sick or something like that. I'll give her till noon. Fuck no. Hey, it's 9:03. Alice isn't here. Let's start calling the neighbors. Like, that's extra. I've never been. Have you ever been that reliable on a job where they're like, there must be a problem, obviously.
God, no.
He would have definitely been here. Shit, no.
No,
they just assume he's got something's up.
This is probably him going, I'm not coming back ever again.
Or he'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah. Or he'll be here by
sure.
10.
Yeah.
He probably is still asleep.
I called him, but he's not going to hear that if he's hungover, right? So they said, she hadn't reported for work. This woman, the secretary, had called their house, Bruce and Al, obviously first.
I'm going to tell you the most embarrassing thing real quick.
Okay.
I got called once by my job at fucking 1 in the afternoon. And it woke me up, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm late." And they're like, "Oh, we thought you haven't been here yet. We thought you already left." No, how much do you guys not need me nor like me?
What were you scheduled? The fucking 4 to 12,
6 a.m., 6 to 2.
Oh, so they thought you left early?
They thought I just took off early. They're like, "Where are you?"
You just hadn't been there at all. You should have said, "I'm 2 to 10 tonight," right? What are you calling me? What are you fucking
I'll be there in an hour.
I'll be there when I'm supposed to be there. Dude, you totally blew that. Because they would have been like, you'd have been like, "Oh my God, really? Yeah. They fucking told me 2 to 10.
The good news is I hated that job and they fired me over it.
Where's that schedule? Start shuffling. Hold on a minute. Because I swear, my schedule says 2 to 10. I swear to God. I planned my whole week around
They gave me a no-call, no-show over it.
I thought it was weird because I usually work, but they said, I don't know. It was weird. Well, she's not you.
That's how forgettable I am.
Yeah, she's not you.
No.
So, no, they know she doesn't show up because the kids are like sitting there, I'm sure, going, "We don't have a teacher right now." Yeah, once
they're just wandering around.
Just bumping into each other. They don't know what to do. Stabbing each other.
Yeah.
Hey, we can finally stab each other now. That was job directive number 1.
The shooter drill goes off. They're on top of their desk.
On top. Yeah. What happened? Oh shit! Damn it! We don't know what's going on here. So they said they obviously called Alice first.
Yeah.
They didn't just start with the neighbor, which is good. She's not here. Call her next door neighbor, and then we'll see if she knows.
This is amazing.
They start there and then go fan out, as you said. So they said, "Can you check on Alice and see if she's around?" Which again is just so weird. I don't fucking know. I'm not involved in this. She works for you. You come over and check and see if she's around. I don't know her. Yeah, what are you talking about? Go over and check on her. What are we doing here? So she goes over there. Susan Sayer goes next door. Not that far. I guess it's not that big of an inconvenience. Right. She found the cellar and back doors unlocked.
Okay.
Which isn't that unusual around there. People aren't real sticklers. It's not super dangerous, but they lock their doors. It's not, rural Canada or anything. It's they're locking their doors and shit. She said, I don't know why I took a shot at rural Canada.
I don't know.
But
there's nobody there to break in, I guess.
That's what I thought of. I feel like I see like just sprawling nothingness with like a cabin with smoke coming out of it, sitting rural Canada out there.
I hope per capita Canada has way higher crime than we do. That would be fantastic.
So. They don't though, unfortunately. But like I figure there, anyone who would come up to the door, you'd be so surprised you'd be opening it before they even got there. So you don't really need to lock it. Right. Holy shit, there's a person coming. Open the door. Christ, I'm lonely.
I've had this coffee going for years. I gotta warm it up.
I got some coffee. Oh, it's stale. It's been. I got it 12 years ago. So, but
on you.
It's maybe if I put it in the microwave with a wet paper towel around it, it's not gonna. No, okay,
it doesn't do it.
It's done. It's pretty hard. You're right.
I should have got steamed. Yeah, shit. Freeze dried.
Fuck, frozen.
Yeah,
Sour Lee, a pound cake. You leave it in there. You never know when you need it. You take it out. There it is. Pound cake. Boom. So,
welcome.
She finds the door unlocked, back door in the cellar. She opens the door, calls in, "Hey, Alice, where Bruce, some fucking body. I don't know. Where are you guys?" She doesn't hear anything. So she walks in the house, which I don't know. I tried. Call the secretary. I called. Yeah. I went over there. I opened the door and I yelled and they didn't answer.
Nobody.
So I'm assuming they're not home.
Right.
Because it's none of my goddamn business where they are or that they didn't show up.
And if there's anything worse in that house, send the fucking cops. I'm not qualified.
Anything on the inside, I yelled. They're not there. That's all I know.
Yeah.
There's
nobody yelled back.
That's it.
Just my echo.
That's my part. So if you got any further concerns, proceed as you must, because I'm going to be doing whatever I was doing before you bothered me. Have a good one. Instead, she walks on in here.
Oh, no.
Nosily enters Bruce Alice entering the house, and she finds, before she gets to the dining room, there's a center hallway, and there she finds the very bloody and very lifeless bodies of Bruce and Alice. Both of them right there, laid out in the hallway area there. Oh, no. So, obviously, she has a little freak out.
Yeah.
I mean, she's probably not the most exciting person either. She's the type of person who you'd call to check on a second grade teacher to make sure you know what I mean?
They called her to check on them at 9 o'clock in the morning.
She's the second most reliable person in town.
Yeah.
Like, did we get Susan on it? We'll call Susan. Imagine how busy she is. It's just a coincidence that was her next door neighbor, but they call her whenever anyone doesn't show up for work. Can you check on...
I can tell you who's never checking on anybody ever again.
Craig Wilkins didn't show up for work this morning at the auto body. Could you check it out for me? Just Jesus, fine. He's not home, okay? I don't know. He said he's sick today. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just like the town truant officer. So instead, she calls the police, and obviously they're concerned to hear about two bloody dead bodies there. It didn't look like it was a natural thing that happened, whatever happened.
They just start leaking?
Not from multiple holes and from different ways and everything. It's a brutal scene. It's very brutal here. They came in and they said, okay, they're dead. They established that, the police, which Susan Sayer had that one down. She didn't really need much help with that. They also note a broken vase nearby and a fireplace poker lying near the bodies with a whole lot of matter on it, we'll say. Some gore. They find no signs of forced entry. When they, examine the whole house, of course, there was two doors open also, so they don't know if that was... what the purpose. Either or. And they also find, though, that the upstairs bedroom, their bedroom, Bruce and Alice's bedroom, had been completely ransacked, tossed and gone through. Bastards. But the rest of the house just looked like there was signs of struggle from here to there, but there wasn't ransacking, just mainly up there. So, obviously, there's an investigation here. They're found lying in a pool of blood in their own hallway. That's something that's abnormal, like we say, for a second grade teacher and a retired mechanic. It's funny too when we set the stage for this. That's not funny, but when we set the stage for the show, as Bruce and Alice, and we set their whole life up, you figure, one of them's going to kill each other.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously,
which one snaps?
This is so idyllic. Bruce needs insurance money or some shit. He's going to find there's some 31-year-old broad that I found dancing, and we're going to run away to Mexico together.
I've been working my whole life for this, and now all of a sudden I hate you.
Now I hate you.
Now I'm stuck in this house with you forever.
Our kid teaches gym. You understand that? Right now, he's yelling at kids to throw a ball at each other harder. Yeah, that's what we did. This didn't work. It's a fucking failure.
You know who's the lucky one? No. Bruce Jr.'s the lucky one.
That's right. No, that's cold.
He got out of it.
He got out of it. So, no, that's not what happened.
No.
That's weird.
They loved each other.
That was a complete fiction. Right. No, they were nice people who liked each other and raised their kids well, and they were all fine, and everybody
worked his whole life for
happy.
This end. That's fucked up.
That's the other thing. And for this end, the police say they have no motive for the slayings, but they say it might have been a burglary based on the tossing, or maybe that was something specific that someone was looking for. They didn't know. It's just two dead people in there in a pool of blood. They don't have any enemies.
I can't imagine, man.
It's not like Alice really pissed a kid off 15 years ago, and now he's come back for revenge, Now he's 22.
The man put in 40 years turning wrenches, man. I did that shit for like a week, and I was like, I'm not cut out for this.
Retired.
This is, man.
I think he retired at 62.
It's so hard.
Just retired.
That life is so brutal.
He was, now he was real into gardening. That's what he was into. Like he was not, he was trying to relax.
Keeping his fingernails clean.
Oh, yeah. He had, or at least with dirt and not grease.
Oh, that comes out a lot easier.
Soil instead of grease is a lot easier.
Jesus.
So, it's the medical examiner, Dr. Klaus Speth. I trust him for some reason.
He knows.
Sounds like a very harsh. It's he's going to tell you things you don't want to hear.
Whatever
Klaus.
he says, fucking trust it.
Yeah, that's the guy that tells you have a horrible disease. And you go, I'm fucked. Yeah. Dr. Klaus told me I'm done. He said that, Alice sustained over 80 wounds.
No.
Over 80 wounds, and was beaten so severely that the fireplace poker penetrated her brain.
My Christ.
If you've ever held a fireplace poker, it's not the heaviest thing in the world. It's not like an axe or anything. Like, see The Staircase, if you've seen that documentary, that's what they said he killed his wife with.
Right.
That's what we're talking about here, I believe. The blow thing, or this might be the poke.
It's the point
hook
and the hook.
Yeah, the hook point one, not the blow thing.
Okay.
It's the different one. The Staircase was to get it going.
Oh, that's what he did it with?
No, this I think he did it with the hook thing.
This is
he did it with the poker.
The guy on the staircase was the stoker.
Was the blow?
Yeah.
Different one. Yeah,
okay,
this is
a different thing.
This is the one with the
hook pointer.
Yeah, hook pointer. So
this thing's nasty.
80 wounds with that. That's what they said here, and that's not it. Also,
and he fucking stabbed her with it.
He was. Just
wow.
I mean, hacking her at her with it.
Unreal.
Over 80 times, which seems like pretty personal.
It's angry.
That seems personal.
It's mad.
And especially with Bruce's shot.
Really?
Bruce's shot. So Bruce
you only bring one bullet?
Bruce is shot to death, and he and Alice is beaten just so severely, overkill with this. So it's the scene is interesting. You'd walk in, and obviously, to me, you'd look and if I'm just initially looking at the scene, you'd go, okay, obviously the focus of the rage is here.
Right.
This seems like a
dispatch him fast.
Get him out of the way.
He is clearly he's
threat. Yeah. Get him out of the way, and then concentrate my rage where I want to, which is here.
Right.
Which would seem like that's what it would seem like to me. So it seems
not many second graders are that mad.
That's what I'm saying. This is this seems super personal, and it doesn't seem like, it must have been something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like random, basically, is what it is.
No,
so,
not at all.
Not at all. So this was in broad daylight. This happened. This is a nice street with 6 houses on it. There's a lake at the end of it where, the neighbors go feed birds and shit like that. It's a very idyllic little area. They were last seen working in their yard at about 1:00 in the afternoon. So that's the last thing they seen. They were doing gardening together, basically. They, as a matter of fact, they're still outside. There's still clippers and a lawn rake and a bag of grass clippings still out on the lawn. So they
took a break for lemonade
and
found somebody in the house.
Were severely murdered.
Oh boy.
Here. Everything was there sitting, the grass was freshly cut and they were cleaning up after it. One of the neighbors here said, quote, "We saw her," meaning Alice, around 1 p.m. She was right where the bag was left in the yard, because they were saying it was still sitting out there, and the police told no one's allowed to move anything. It's a crime scene, obviously. So that's a neighbor of theirs. Also, they said other neighbors said there was no disturbance. None of the neighbors reported any kind of ruckus in the neighborhood that day or anything like that. It was just a quiet, normal day. It's a Sunday, and just a quiet Sunday, and nothing out of the ordinary, nothing like that. The one neighbor said that's what seems so odd, but they also said that there had been 2 or 3 burglaries on the block in the past year. So there'd been some burglaries, but nobody put it together as anything to be
in the past year.
Were they
casing the joint for every 3 months to go back?
Yeah, to go back, and now we're going to get the big score of slaughtering the second grade teacher. It doesn't that doesn't make sense either. It's a weird,
doesn't line up.
The way it looks personal, I don't think you'd go in right away and say, well, a burglary, that must have been what it was, and because these were burglaries that were no violence or no confrontations or anything like that.
It's a snatch and grab or smash and grab.
And the fact that they were outside doing yard work would make it, that would cut down on the chance that they came home and a burglar was in their house. You know what I'm saying?
Happened upon happening.
Yeah, they came home early or something. They were outside, so anyone who was going to burgle them knew they were there and knew they were home.
And it's
not the middle of the night. Someone broke in and they caught them, and it was a struggle. So it's a weird thing. Everybody's really perplexed by this whole thing.
It ruins just every opportunity to really get away with it too. But now people have seen them at a certain time. It pinpoints fucking everything.
And if you want to burgle more, you're putting a lot of attention on yourself.
Right.
So the whole thing doesn't seem...
Cover of night seems a lot easier.
I would say so. They talked to a guy named Tom Herrera, who I guess said that on the previous day, they talked to him the next day, this guy. He said he'd cut the house across the street's lawn from the Sharps house, and part of his job was to dump the grass clippings from this lawn into the Sharps compost heap.
Oh, okay.
So I guess everybody who would cut their lawn, they'd put it in their compost heap on purpose. They asked him to do that. So,
well, yeah, they've got a garden, James. They need the compost.
So, I mean, this is what they're working on. He's gone from Texaco to composting.
He's knocking on neighbors' doors and saying, dump your shit in my yard.
He's done a 180 is what I'm saying here. Rather than I'm going to dump my shit in your ocean, he's gone to dump your shit in my yard. So he's done a complete 180. This guy says that while he was wheeling his cart full of clippings up their driveway, the Sharps driveway, he said he encountered a man. He said they exchanged no words. He said the guy first ran into some bushes, then he retrieved a dirty gray bicycle with an orange sticker on it and rode away. That's what he said.
And you exchanged fucking no words
didn't
with
say
that
a word
man?
to the guy. And they said, can you describe him? And he said, this Herrera said that the man had big eyes and, quote, long, scraggly hair, and he wore boots. So they have a mysterious, booted, scraggly man,
on a kid's bike,
on a bike in the bushes as you were wheeling your clippings.
And you have no fucking questions for that guy?
No questions. And the cops go, all right, sounds good there.
Yeah.
And they work up a composite sketch of a scraggly-haired man, a scraggly-haired white man, as we know he's white in this town, between the ages of 18 and 21.
Okay.
So a young man. And they said the man was last seen riding his bicycle away, old gray dirty bicycle with an orange sticker on it.
Okay.
So so the cops go in, they're looking for clues. They say they have no suspect, they have no motive, they don't have shit. They have two bodies and a gardener seeing a scraggly man. That's all they have. They said that all they can speculate based on everything they've investigated, they have these people, there's no one with any reason to kill these people. So they said this has to be a burglary based on the ransack. It's the best thing, Occam's razor type of thing. That's the best we can go on.
And we beat small town police forces to death for their lack of, but this information,
this is tough.
Just having that there, and then you've got a police force with very little resources. They're like, now we gotta fucking solve this.
Now we have to solve this crime. Lay it out before you right now. It seems pretty rough.
I'm fucked.
Right now, you're with this information. You're going, was it the gardener? Did he make up the scraggly man? Was it the scraggly man? Was the scraggly man someone who worked for them? Doing stuff in their yard. We can't ask them because they're dead, and they had, who the hell knows? Was someone angry at them?
And I can't ask that gardener any more questions because the fucking guy had no questions.
I had no questions. That's what I mean. Was Bruce banging some broad, and this was her angry husband that came over? Was this some? Who the hell knows? Who knows? You don't know what the hell's going on here. So they said all they have to go on is maybe they surprised a burglar while they were working in the yard. Maybe someone thought they could sneak in and steal some shit while they were outside working, which would be really ballsy.
That's super brave.
And they came in, and that's what ended up happening. They didn't know at all here. So on May 1st, so some time goes by here. This is not 2 days, but still, they go by. And a guy named Paul Godman here, who's an officer with the police department in Pitman, he gets a phone call from his nephew. Okay. Sometimes it's funny because you always talk about, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good and shit like that. And like you said, if you're a cop, you're looking at this going, fuck.
I hope I'm lucky.
Unless we pull literally fingerprints or something, very solid physical or someone confesses, we are fucked here. This is not going to get found.
1984?
Yeah, this is 84.
There's no, DNA is not really that big.
No,
it's not a thing at all, right?
It's not a thing at all.
No.
So it's fingerprints
this is
or
crazy.
If they catch a guy with a gun that matches the caliber that killed Bruce
and he says I killed him,
and they match the ballistics, and hopefully he'll have a bloody knife on him too, otherwise, or a fireplace poke. They need luck basically, and they get it here. A guy, this is his nephew, this officer Godman. His nephew's name is Carmen Katafi. Okay, Katafi, he says he says he read about the murders in the newspaper, and he tells his uncle that he thinks he knows something about them, but he's afraid to get involved.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this hero bread is a good
terrific.
step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot Me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
All right, well,
I'm scared to get involved.
You just called your uncle, who's a fucking cop. What do you want me to do now?
That's the thing. You're involved now. You just told the cop you know about a murder.
You put me in a position that I have to. I'll fucking arrest you.
You called me at work.
Right.
You didn't even call me at home on a Saturday and said I need some advice from my uncle.
You called my sergeant and said, "Can I talk to my uncle?"
I have a gun on right now. I have to follow this shit. I'm literally wearing a gun. My lieutenant's right here. He's in the room with me. I can't just be like, oh, well, I don't know.
I'll see you at lunch this
weekend. See you later. No, the barbecue's this weekend. Memorial Day, end of the month. Right. Don't forget. Big barbecue at my house.
We have talking to do now, son.
So he says he's afraid to get involved. So they're like, you're afraid to get involved? Right. What is going on?
Your uncle's a cop. What the fuck are you scared of?
That's what I mean. Who are these sharps involved with here? They're thinking now. What's going on? So this Godman here, the officer, sets up a meeting between his nephew, who, if he knows anything about it, I'm going to call him a dipshit just because he's into something weird. Right. He sets up a meeting between him and detectives from the police department and the prosecutor's office here. Now, what he says is Carmen says that he himself, Carmen, and a guy named Gerald Smith and another man named Walter Johnson, not the Hall of Fame pitcher, obviously. You never know. Hey, what was he, 80 out there fucking around? What's going on with Walter Johnson?
All right, these three dickheads.
All right, Walter Johnson, Gerald Smith, and Carmen Katafi here. He said they spent a couple hours of the day of the murders when they were found dead. That day, they spent a couple hours drinking wine at Gerald Smith's house in Glassboro. Okay. That's also where Walter Johnson lives in Glassboro.
How old are these dicks?
They're, youngish, early 20s.
Sitting around drinking wine
Sitting around drinking wine. All right. Probably a Mad Dog 2020 or some shit like that.
It's not wine.
He drank in that Thunderbird. Right. That's what's happening. Right. This is getting...
this is shit wine.
This is... Oh, yeah. No, they're not sitting going, no, the Merlot, I said. Not the... What are you doing? Jesus, I don't want the Chianti.
You don't have any cheese? Jesus, what kind of fucking place is this?
The cab is too dry. I'd like maybe a Pinot Noir. I want it sweeter. That's not what's happening.
I want some notes.
He's like, what is that, strawberry? I'll take a swig. That's the wine we're talking about here.
The word notes is not in it.
It's if your wine
finish is not in it.
No, if your wine shares a flavor with Starburst, say, of any kind, it's probably not very good wine. And don't call yourself. You're not exactly a sommelier, is what we're getting at.
If your review of the wine is it'll fuck you up.
Shit fucked you up. Shit fucked me up good. I didn't even throw up. So that's a good, if your review is how little or much you threw up, you're probably drinking wine wrong, I'm going to say. And
if the review is this one will give you a headache.
Yeah, real bad. I mean, I drank 4 bottles of it, but still, you drank it. It's rough.
If your review is based upon how fucked up you get versus the headache after.
Yeah. Exactly.
If that's how you drink wine, you're not drinking wine.
If it's grape flavored, not just from grapes, you fucked up. You made a mistake.
It's grape flavored because it's purple.
That's what I mean. It's very and it's alcoholic grape flavored. You've done something.
Yes.
Wrong. Although that does sound delicious.
That is cough syrup, my friend.
Well, no, not with medicine in it. Just a grape.
That is just liquid coating, brother.
I just want grape.
They call that syrup, James.
No. I want a grape soda where I can't taste the alcohol or any medicine. I just want to drink grape soda and get drunk from it. I think that would be fun.
All right.
Is that good? Because I don't really like the taste of shit. So can I have that?
I mean, lean is close to that.
Can you give me that?
It tastes like Sprite.
How much of that do I have to drink, though?
Not much if you pour enough, but then it tastes like syrup.
That's what I mean. I don't want that.
You got to go hard on the syrup, James.
I'm going to stick with the weed. Thank you very much. Because I think I have that all figured out now.
It tastes better. That's for sure.
It's much better. So he sets up a meeting here between this idiot and, like I said, it's him, Walter Johnson, Gerald Smith drinking cheap wine for a couple hours on the day of the murder in Glassboro. So about 1 p.m., I guess, Walter Johnson borrowed Carmen's gray bicycle in saying that he had to get some things that he, quote, had stashed.
Yeah.
So he's like, I got to get some things I stashed. So he's going to go ride his bike to go get some things he stashed.
Got it.
I don't know what that is.
Dig in the trees and pull out his shit.
Some shit that he stashed away. Now, about 2 hours later, Smith and Carmen, the other two wine drinkers of the sommelier trio here, they get drunk and argue and look at us. Look at us.
Yeah.
We're wonderful. Then they eat like fucking, they go steal candy from like children.
Right. From that Brock's tray where you're supposed to put a nickel in.
Yeah, they just take that.
Take the Neapolitan coconut ones.
They get caught stealing. See one of them with the other one.
The pocket full of fucking butterscotch.
Quit. No, stop. They're going to see you. No, don't get the Twix. I don't want no Twix. That's like 2 little black dicks rubbing together in your pocket. I ain't getting no Twix. I don't want no 3 musket queers either. That's the name of it, right? They got muskets and they're queer, right? Right. That's how it worked, right? That's these idiots, I feel like. That's
all Snickers sniffers.
It's the sniffers. Give me a sniffers.
It's for penis sniffers.
They hang out with Stevie from the documentary. So, a couple hours later, this is hours go by, I'm going to get some stuff I stashed with your bicycle, and then he's just gone. They encounter him, Smith and Carmen encounter Walter Johnson in the streets of Glassboro on his bike here. Now,
on Carmen's bike.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Carmen wasn't riding it. Walter Johnson was. Now, Smith and Carmen were driving in Smith's car going to Smith's girlfriend's house. So he has a girlfriend. That's a good sign there. Or some significant somebody that is willing to, someone that's willing to spend time with you. That's somewhat relieving because I'm just.
And tell other people about it.
That's what I mean. And there's something there to whatever.
There are people I'd spend time with, but I would never tell anybody.
That's what I mean. There you go. Now, at this point, they saw Walter Johnson. He was riding his bicycle in the direction back to Smith's house. Like he's going back to, drop his bicycle off. Now, Carmen noticed something odd about Walter, mainly that Walter had blood all over him.
Yeah.
Which is not normal, obviously, and he didn't have that when he left. So Smith stops the car. This is when I would keep driving.
Yeah.
He's got I didn't see it.
Did you see what? This shit was all over his face.
Just drive, keep driving. I don't think it was his. I'm driving, keep driving. Is he bleeding? Doesn't look like it. I think it's somebody else's.
I can't even tell, to be honest with you. Just keep going.
I don't know.
If he is, I don't want it on my interior. I'm going to keep going.
He's got a bike. He'll get there. I've done my part. He was riding my bike.
He's still moving on it.
So this Smith stopped the car, and Carmen talked to Walter, and Walter said, hey, let's go to Camden. Okay. Now they said among them, when they said go to Camden, that meant let's go buy drugs.
Yeah.
Because you'd buy drugs in Camden.
How about you go to a bath first?
No, it's covered in blood. We're gonna, and I need drugs now.
Right.
So yeah, let's go to Camden meant let's go buy some shit.
Right.
That's where they go to buy shit. So they said, all right, and they go back to Smith's house first, where he washed some of the blood, at least the blood off his face.
Yeah.
He had blood all over his face and arms. Or should probably at least get that off of you. So with the garden hose outside,
that's how he did it.
That's how he did it. Not even, there's some of that squeeze, that pumpy soap next to the sink, the antibacterial. Yeah, give yourself a good 5 pumps of that, probably. You're going to need it. None of that shit at all. He just said, there's a hose out there.
Right.
Towel? Nope. Whop it in the grass.
Drip dry, fucker.
Drip dry. So, this man is washing blood. Walter Johnson washing blood from his face and arms with a garden hose. By the way, they're not asking a whole lot of questions of why are you covered in blood so much, and now you want to go buy drugs. How did that happen?
I thought where'd you have that stashed?
You had a bunch of money and blood stashed somewhere? Right. Awesome. Glad you found it. What the fuck?
Did you have it stashed up something's ass and you had to tear it out?
How it is. Yeah, I grabbed it and it popped all over me. So he's doing that. While he's washing the blood off with a garden hose, he starts, just unsolicited.
Talking about how he got blood?
The way they put it, quote, disjointly explaining. So he's just kind of here and there. And
meandering through a story.
Yeah, he's not real concise.
All right.
He doesn't have a good narrative.
It's open,
Let's just say
he's
that.
putting it together.
Yeah, he doesn't have like like shit, like words I have in front of me like that. He doesn't have that laid out yet.
Bouncing around.
He doesn't know where he's going.
Okay.
So they said he's disjointly explained that I've killed one or more people.
Okay.
We're like, well, first of all, how many?
Right.
That's important.
Total.
But they don't believe him, actually. Carmen said that he thought he was full of shit, and he said, quote, he quote, thought it equally likely that Walter himself had been the victim of a beating and that the blood was his own. So Walter's one of those guys who tells stories. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. So when Walter comes in and he's covered in blood and he's washing the blood off and he's like, let's go get some drugs. And they're like, what happened, Walter? He's like, I killed one. Could have been more. Yeah. I killed a couple people. Right. And they're like, oh, did you now? And he's like, well, I killed a couple. Yeah, I had to kill him. Hey, that's what happens, man. You got to do it. And they're like, oh, sure.
The shame and indignity of getting rolled.
Exactly.
Right.
He probably got the shit beaten out of him and fucking now he's bleeding from a head wound under his hair and he's saying, oh, yeah, you should see the other guy.
Right.
Killed two of them.
You should see the other
one,
guy.
Two of them. I don't know, a couple. I don't matter. That's how little I care.
Right.
Little regard I have for taking a life.
I just started beating.
1, 2, 3. I'll kill whoever's in front of me. I'll kill you right now. Strangle you with this garden hose. Come on over here.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So he says that they don't believe him, so they're like, yeah, all right, whatever. So he washes up. They said they ditched the bicycle. I don't know why they said they ditched it and just left it at the house.
What's yours, Norman?
Because it's at Gerald's house over here. So they wash up and everybody gets into the car and to drive to Camden to buy heroin.
Yeah, boy.
So that's where we're going with that.
That's our thing.
Let's go buy some heroin.
Okay.
Very strange here. Now, during this car ride here, Jesus Christ, the heroin car ride, Walter starts telling Smith and Carmen a little more about this whole thing. Because they're like, they just ignored it. They were like, oh, you killed people. That's great.
Right.
And then they were like, let's go over here. So they were just like not even asking questions because they assumed that he was fucking lying.
The conversation's over already.
That's how it works. Yeah. So he tells him a little more. He says how he shot a man and he bludgeoned the man's wife to death. That's what he tells him. He's like, he had to beat her to death. And they were like, Carmen said that he still was skeptical because he knew Walter to be an untruthful person. Okay. He's a fucking liar who I'm going to buy heroin with. Right. So, he's not the most reliable here. Also, they said at this point, this is when Walter shows Carmen some jewelry and some cash. And he says, I got this from those fucking people. You think I'm lying?
Right.
And now at this point, Carmen starts to believe him because the jewelry and the cash have a bunch of blood on them. Still could have been his blood, but they're like, that's a lot
of cash.
It's a little more believable. And where'd he get this cash from? And if he got beat up, how'd he end up with cash at the end of it? They probably would have robbed him if someone beat him like that. So they get to heroin. I almost said. They get to Camden, which might as well be heroin at that point. And so Walter treats. My treat.
I'm buying.
You know what?
A round on me.
Round on me. Stick it in your vein and let's do this. Let's go on a ride. Let's go on a trip, everybody.
Throwing 20s in the air.
Let's do this shit.
Yeah.
Buys heroin for himself and his friends, which is nice. And then they all shut up, which is, I guess, the point of having heroin.
Right.
After that, they stop. After that, mind you, they go to heroin first.
Yeah.
Then they stop at a store, the Pennsauken Mart, which is, I guess, a department store, and bought a pair of pants. He buys a pair of jeans to replace the ones he's wearing that are covered in blood.
He went into the store.
He went to buy heroin covered in blood, and then shot up covered in blood, and then was like, now I'll go change my pants.
Now I'm calm.
Now I'm cool. I'll change my pants.
And not only am I going to change them, I got to go buy them to change them.
Walk in there. Well, clearly I need a new pair of pants.
Is somebody can help you with?
Obviously.
And you just put your hands out and look down.
Pants are that way.
What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. So he then throws the bloody pants out of the car window, which is a very reliable disposal method. You just throw them out of the car window and they fly off like dandelion spores.
They're no longer good. Right.
Poof. Gone. All the blood comes
never
off.
Be found.
Never. So the police at this point said, let's go ahead and arrest this Walter Johnson guy based on this statement, and we'll see what shakes out, because this sounds pretty good. Sounds like our guy, the way it's described here. So they try to locate him, and they can't find him. They look all. They said his friend said, why don't you search Camden, because he's probably looking for drugs right now.
There he goes.
So then these cops have to go try to find him in Camden, which is like a crackhead in a haystack. You're never going to find that shit. You know,
in a crack stack.
Yeah, a junkie in a junk stack is not going to work. You're never going to find him. So they couldn't find him, and they continue the search for this mysterious Walter Johnson. Now, who the fuck is Walter Johnson?
I'd love to know.
Walter is a kid who came up shittily.
Well,
he's an abused kid that everybody who knows him says is a good person except for drugs. He's had a drug problem since his early teens and been a complete fuck up since then, just based on drugs. He's 24 at the time. He dropped out of high school in like the 10th grade. Drugs for drug reasons. He worked in a bakery that a family member of his owned for a while. Did a little carpentry work here and there.
He's Jesus.
Does a little, well, there you go. He's going to live at the center of town.
There you go.
Center of the Pitman Grove there. He does a little bit of carpentry work, but at the time he's unemployed. He's been doing little odd jobs here and there, but
to support his heroin habit.
Exactly. I need $50 today. I'll go work, and then
that's all I need.
That's what it is. So, but he's not, completely employed here. So, unemployed here. He is married at the time and has a son.
Oh my God.
He's got a 5-year-old son, which sounds like a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
That's a 19-year-old kid.
Not good. 19-year-old junkie said, great idea. Well, I don't know if he said
I'll
it.
help.
Someone said, I'll help. And she's still married to him at this point. So I don't know if that's just we can't afford to do the paperwork or if they're still together or what. Or
we can't afford to live separate.
That's the thing. They end up separating in a while, as we'll talk about. Now, he isn't the brightest bulb, as you might imagine. He's known as kind of a not a low IQ in terms of like a legally defining low IQ.
Just a burnout who's got dead cells because of his drug use.
And he wasn't that smart to begin with.
Okay.
He's always in school. He wasn't very smart always. He's not a very bright guy. Everybody says it.
Likely used drugs to relieve the burden of the stress of not being able to learn at school.
And he's a very abused too as a child. So he's got all
kind of reasons to do drugs.
That's the thing. He's got plenty of reasons to do drugs here. He is 100% addicted to heroin, and he has over 50 at the age of 24 burglary convictions and different convictions for misdemeanor stealing, shoplifting.
Wow.
He is I mean, those are his stats. 100% addicted to heroin, 50 burglary arrests and counting. He's really, really, really a high flyer when it comes into the burglary.
A bad thief.
Also a shit thief.
Terrible if he's getting caught 50
that many times. Because he's a junkie. He's not planning things out and this is the perfect score.
Right.
And he's got a map
he's just
and
taking opportunities.
When the lasers come from the thing, I'm going to do a cartwheel over the one, and a backflip shouldn't activate the third. That's not what he's doing. He's like, I need heroin that looks shiny.
Right.
That's what he does.
And with
break,
arms
grab,
reach. Right.
Yeah, break, grab, sell.
Right.
Okay. Even if I get arrested, at least I got high first.
I know.
That's what he's looking for here. So yeah, convicted of more than 50 burglary and burglary adjacent offenses here. So on May 1st, they finally find him late at night on May 1st. He's at his parents' home in Glassboro. He just went back to his parents' house. Jesus. That's where he goes. The police surround the house, which is weird. Now, it gets even weirder. Walter Johnson's brother is a member of the Pitman police force.
Okay.
Yeah. So the nephew with the thing, and now we got
how small this town is.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody's got a family member.
You can arrest your own family member murderer. If it's a murder, he's related to somebody in the family, either the murder victim or the murderer.
66% of the idiot crew has family on the police force.
That's what I mean. It's weird as shit. So this is Walter's older brother.
Yeah.
Okay. His brother goes up to the house because it's his parents' fucking house,
right,
and goes in and talks to Walter and brings him out. That way they don't have to have a big scene.
Mom, Dad.
Yeah.
We've got you surrounded.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, the house is surrounded. But are we doing chicken parms? No, it's still surrounded, but I'm hungry. Is there something in the fridge I can take?
Can you send out Wally?
Ma, I can't take a sandwich with me. I got a prisoner. He can't have a sandwich. He's in handcuffs, Ma. I can't take. I'm not going to uncuff him. So I'm not going to uncuff him.
Stop telling me to stop being mean to my brother.
That's what my mother would be like.
Why are you picking on your brother?
Can you uncuff him in the car so he can eat the sandwich at least? That would be no. He can't work. I'm sorry. Look, this isn't about him being my younger brother, Mom. This is about Walter covered in blood. It's a different thing.
Your son's a junkie, Mom.
Jesus Christ. So he drags him out of that. He comes out voluntarily with his brother. At 1:47 a.m. on May 2nd, the police arrest him. They frisk him. They put him in a car, and a detective reads him his Miranda rights, and then they drive him to the police station. Now, there's some other things we're going to talk about in a second here about that ride. But later on, at the police station, they escort him into an interview room here. There's Detective Reeves. That's one of the main guys. It's Reeves and Wechter are here. Reeves, he's the one who's going to conduct the interview, and the Detective Wechter gives the Miranda rights. Okay. And so Walter Johnson signs a form. Yes, I understand my rights. Blah, 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 blah. They witness the signatures. Then Wechter leaves the room, and Detective Donovan arrives. So now it's Reeves and Donovan in the room.
Okay.
And 2 a.m. about or so, they start this interview. And Reeves asks most of the questions while the other one takes notes. So kind of go back and forth, these teams. They have their certain roles. Yeah. They're like us. Yeah. Homicide detectives are like us. Like, they know how to dance.
You ask them the fun stuff, the facts, the stuff that's going to matter. Well, and I go, did you?
Well, no.
What'd you do that's creepy?
We both do the creepy thing. That's not how we do this. No, I mean, we just know how to dance around each other like people that work in a kitchen. Not that. You always say that. I say grosser shit than you 90% of the time. All the time. I said pulled pork pussy in front of 400 people.
You're going to get the stuff that matters. And it'll be great, but it's going to matter to the story.
We're both disgusting, horrible people is what I'm getting at. Don't try to say I'm not, because I am too. I'm not going to run from it.
It's the worst thing you did for heroin.
What's the worst thing you did? No, they have their different
James will tell you a story about an amazing documentary, and we're both going to get out of you, who's your Al? Who is he?
Who did it? Who's the best? Tell me. These are all inside live show jokes. And if you went to these live shows,
we talked about
problem?
The smut show. What do you call it?
Fuck shops?
No.
On the side of the highway?
That documentary. God damn it.
Oh, Dope Sick Love.
Yeah, but what do you call it when you used to call your friend to come over and watch it with you?
Oh.
Do you want to watch them? Want to come over this week and watch some smut? What did you call
it?
Scum.
We come watch some Scum. Let's watch some scum. Like the documentary Stevie. Yeah. We always called him Stevie Scumpson. Hey, Stevie Scumpson is coming over. Let's watch some scumbags. That's all it is. Dope Sick Love is just all scumbags.
Just scum.
Never a person is seen in a camera lens that's not a scumbag in that entire fucking video. It's amazing. It's wild. So... so they're questioning old Walter Johnson.
Yeah.
Now, in the early stages, when they first start this interrogation, detectives say that he displays what they call a, quote, easygoing confidence.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm cool. They said when asked about what he did, he said, I spent the day at a tavern, drank some beers with my friends, hung out with my friends. That's all. It's just cool as can be. They said, what are the names of those friends? He goes, I can't tell you that. I ain't going to involve those people in this. I'm going to bother them.
It's not their business.
And you go knock on their doors and bother them. They're busy people. We're talking about, these are doctors and lawyers and judges.
Right.
And, people like that. They're important people. They can't be having cops be knocking on the door. You've been drinking in the tavern with, Walter. They don't want to know about that.
Yeah.
It's unsightly and unseemly. Have some class, officer. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So the detective says, look, it's really important that you supply the names. This isn't just like someone didn't do graffiti on a locker here. This is important.
We got 2 dead people. You need to corroborate your story.
They said basically like you giving us an explanation of where you were and who you were with would really help us not think you're a murderer. Right. Basically, it's literally what they said to him. And he was like, oh, all right. Literally, was like, oh, I'll get it now.
All right.
Literally, that's what that's what I mean when I said he's not like, medically simple, but he's definitely... There's something off there. And
he's missing something.
Yeah, not only is he on heroin all the time, he's also stupid to begin with. Right. So,
he's not doing himself any favors rotting that brain.
That's what I mean.
Right.
He did not have much to lose to start with, is what I'm getting. His tires were bald when he started out on this cross-country journey. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So by the time he gets there, he's going to be on rims. It's not going to work.
There's 2,000 miles left on those tires that need to go 3,000.
That's a problem. Right. So the detective Reeves, he says, okay, so you don't want to tell us the name of your friends. He goes, I understand, but I still ain't going to involve these people. They said, all right, we'll tell you what. Tell us the name of the bartender who served you. You hung out all day. Who's that? Yeah. That's not involved. He's a bartender. He's working. If people ask him all the time, is somebody here? He won't mind. Right. Just ask him. He goes, nah, I can't tell you that. I just can't tell you, man. It's private.
Walter's exhausting.
Walter is a dick.
Yeah.
So they said, tell you what, we find your story, and they told him, quote, unsatisfactory.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work. Yeah. You said you're drinking beers all day. You don't know what we're talking about, but you won't say who you were with, who served you beers, where you were exactly. Right. None of this shit. Just in a tavern drinking beers with, quote, friends.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to work. So they said, what's going on? He goes, well, tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
That's actually, I was there part of the time at the tavern. I love when people revise their stories. It's whatever story you say, if you're being interrogated for murder, no matter how stupid it is, never stray from it.
That better be the whole thing.
Never stray from it. Just never go, you know what, I forgot. Because then you're done. That you did it. It doesn't matter if you forgot that you got milk and orange juice. Right. You did it at that point. They're just like, now it unfolds. Now you remember things. You're fucked. Just, I did this and that, and then aliens came, and they
orange
gave
juice,
me a thing.
That's an interesting detail.
That's interesting.
And then you murdered her, didn't you?
Detective Donovan. Orange juice. He said orange juice. What do you think of that? Shaking his head in the corner. I don't know. That's what they do, though. Yeah. Never change your story, no matter what. I don't know. I'm not trying to help people get out of murder, but if you didn't do it, obviously, then don't try to get out of it. So he then says, all right, I did a different thing. He goes, that wasn't it. I mixed up yesterday with today and tomorrow, and you know how things go when you're fucking sticking heroin in your arm all the time. It's just whoo-wee. So he said, I actually spent most of the day driving around with my friends, is what I did. So I fucked everything up. That's what I did. So they said, well, could you expand where, with who, where'd you go,
whose car,
things like that. He goes, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you names of my friends or none of that shit. Can you tell us where you went? No. I ain't giving you my itinerary. It's very private. I'm a very private man. So, at about the end of 40 minutes of questioning, the detectives, they're pissed off at this point here.
With lumps on their foreheads from banging it on the table.
And punching their own selves. How stupid do you think
God damn it!
So they said that they could not get an adequate explanation out of him, and they said he maintained the whole time what they called a confident, easygoing demeanor. He was real casual about it. That was the thing. He wasn't like, I can't tell you, man. Right. He was just like, I'm telling you. They're like, why? It's like, fuck you care. Like, he's just real, like, just, I don't know, shit.
It's my business.
You want to turn some Skinner on or some shit? Because it's fucking quiet in here. I'm tired of listening to this asshole. Jesus Christ almighty. Tack up the bong. It's something going. Right. Order a pizza. What, is it too late for pizza? Domino's open late, right? Like, that's what's happening here. Fuck.
There's some pull tops around here.
Yeah. Something. Some pull top. So, about 2:40 a.m., they said that's when shit changed. And, this is, the problem is the record's very sketchy because none of this is recorded.
Oh?
This is 84.
What?
Way before things were videotaped. Yeah. They didn't even fucking audio record this. So this is just, they go in a room with a guy, and then whatever the detectives write on a report is what happened in that room.
That's awful.
So that's not a good place for the criminal justice system at that point.
And this is 12 hours post pickup?
No. This is like an hour and a half later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They arrested him at 1:47. It's now 2:40.
Got it. Okay.
So he said some bullshit for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
And that was that. So about 2:40 though, this happens, and the detectives then they say, "Hey Walter, would you give us consent for some hair samples of yours and some blood and some saliva? Just we're gonna go all over you.
Right.
We're gonna do an around the world on you and see what comes up.
Run some swabs over you.
Jizz, poop, whatever comes up as we're going around.
Gonna run some wet wipes through you.
That's it. We got some toe cheese. We'll take that. We don't care." So he said, sure, you can have that stuff. They said, can we also search your parents' home where you live? Mm-hmm. And he said, oh, no, you can't do that. He goes, well, I have no authority to grant that. It's not my house.
Oh,
that's what he said.
I want to involve them.
He said, he said literally, he goes, well, that's my parent. I don't have the authority to grant you that. Yeah. You got to ask my dad. That ain't my thing.
That's the thing that his dad has said at some point, and that's why he knows those words.
I think it's not my authority. That's when he had the house painted or something without their consent or some crazy shit.
His dad's like, you don't have the authority.
You don't have the authority to put a new storm window in. So instead, he says, I can't. Fuck shit. Damn, I can't do that. So they persisted. They said, no, listen, I think his brother would smooth it over too. Hey, Mom, Dad, we have to search the house because Walter killed 2 people. Right. That happens. So they said that they only want. They said, dude, we're not asking you to search your parents fucking under their bed or, in the living room. Just permission to search the portions of the house that are under your control. Yeah. Your room, especially, and shit like that. If you have a shed, shower, things like that. Still, he's like, I can't do it. I just don't have the authority to grant you that. I'm sorry. I would love to, but the bureaucracy and the red tape behind it, I just couldn't do it. I'd have to run it up the flagpole and, everybody gets their say in it. You know how it is.
I gotta put in a request. It could take 2 to 3 weeks.
I mean, I gotta wait for an answer, and then if it's negative, I need to make a formal reply.
They review them on the 10th, and look, here we are on the 14th.
If on the 31st of May, this end of this month, we have not come to a resolution, there will be a 6-person board panel that will review it, and
a committee will be summoned.
If they approve it within 6 weeks of that, it will be processed. And I'm saying by mid-July, we should have you guys all cleared to go ahead and search.
And on account of 2 of the committee members have retired, so we got to take a vote to get the committee back together.
Oh, so that's going to be a while because they're going to take off for summer on June 1st. Oh, shit.
And we got to get them to agree on salary.
So maybe mid-November. Thanksgiving we're shooting for, before the holidays, we'll say. Just before it's too cold out. That's what we're shooting for. Maybe you can come on by the house, but nothing before that. Jesus Christ.
It might not be in the budget.
It's just not going to be. You're not going to be able to do it. So, they said no. He won't do it. Now, during the same time, Walter asked the detectives why, when they pulled in, his friend Gerald Smith, who he rode around with and, used his garden hose to wash blood off. He said, why is his car in the parking lot of the police department? So then Reeves here, the detectives, he says, Smith here, Gerald, your buddy, gave us information about the crime. And he then, Reeves, shows Walter the complaint, naming Walter as a suspect in the murders. And he basically, another wire thing, he did when he slapped the fucking search warrant down in front of Avon Barksdale and showed him Stringer Bell's name as the confidential informant, just to rub it in a little more. Yeah, that's where we got the info. But he did that shit with him, basically. He said, he said, see, this is from here. And he said that they wouldn't have been able to get the signed complaint to bring him and, compel him to talk about this unless they had evidence. And that evidence was provided by who? Your buddy Gerald, who is here right now. So that's a problem. They said at that point, his demeanor completely did a 180. They said he went from literally had his arms folded behind his head while they were talking. That's how casual he was going. I don't know where I was. Arms. Can you imagine being even if you didn't murder anybody? Right. You knew where you were. Yeah. Solid alibi. Solid. And you were on stage at the time. We were doing a live show. Right. And,
there was 800 people staring me in the face. 800
people were looking at you, calling you a dick, and you were fucking giggling and having a piss halfway through the show. You drank too many beers. That's going on. The most you're at. I'm still not having my hands behind my back. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm going to be very interested in the process.
I'll be screaming, go find their documentation for their ticket.
There's so many pictures.
There's so many people.
We tell them not to, but they take them anyway. It says no photography and they're everywhere.
Look at Facebook. There are pictures everywhere.
God damn it. So I don't know why they don't listen.
They're timestamped.
They're very excited. It's fine. We're not mad at them, but damn it.
And Gerald Smith is the one that told, or was it the other kid?
No, Gerald Carmen's the one who called, and then they said, well, Gerald Smith.
So Gerald corroborated everything?
Gerald's corroborating everything, so he's in there. Now he said he's bowing his head, Walter, and wouldn't look the detectives directly. Wouldn't look at them anymore.
He can't be private for much longer.
Yeah, he's changed this whole thing. They said over the next hour and a half, Detective Reeves pressed Walter for a confession. He said he asked Walter whether he felt remorse and whether Walter understood what other people might think of him for killing these nice people that everybody loves and whose son died in Vietnam and and they're going on.
And you're 100% addicted to heroin. You're about to be really sick.
You're going to be super sick. And also, there's a 30 7-year-olds that are going to cry their fucking eyes out because their teacher's not going to show up tomorrow. They're giving him the business. I mean, that's what they do. They said there is no record of this interrogation, though, because it's just notes based on the detective's notes, so they could write anything. They said that they don't know exactly what was said, obviously, between 2:40 a.m. and 4 o'clock a.m., but they definitely crack him at that point. They said that he repeatedly answered questions with prolonged silences, and then by either saying that he couldn't talk about the murders or that he didn't want to talk about the murders. So either way you go, I don't want to talk about it, or I can't talk about those murders. That's what he would say. Why? Who the fuck? It's weird.
What's happening?
They said they took several breaks. This is what the detectives say. And they said they provided him with beverages and cigarettes. And then after each break, they would resume questioning. Now, finally, they said at 4 o'clock, Detective Reeves asked Walter whether Alice Sharp was still alive when Walter fled the house. And at that point, that's the first question he answers. He says, yeah, she was, because they gave him an out. They found the out. Remember we said that tiny window they try to give people? That's the out he gave him. Was she still alive? Maybe she was alive and you got scared and you left.
There.
Yeah, because you left and now they're giving him something that they can save face on. That's the thing. That's the thing of, even when somebody kills their kid, they'll be in there going, I mean, I hit my kid all the time, man. I get it. I mean, he's fucking, he
wouldn't shut up.
He's got no balance and then he hit his dude. It's not your fault, dude. We all do that. What the fuck, man? That's what they do. They try to give you an out of why you're not a complete piece of shit if you tell me what you did. And that's his way to go, well, she was still alive when I left. I didn't kill the lady.
Good Lord.
That's his way of doing it. So it's at that point that he says, the detective asks if Walter had talked to Bruce and Alice beforehand, and so now he's opening up a list. Did you talk to him before this happened? And Walter says that he did talk to them. Then they asked him to tell in his own words what happened, and at that point they said that he gave his narration. Walter did, and this is Detective Donovan's recounting of the confession, basically. He said he approached the house and he saw the Sharps working in the front yard. Saw them there. He said hello to them, and he I guess he had done some work on their house previously, some carpentry work for them previously, whatever, when he was working. And so he said, hey, you remember me? I'm Walter. Do you remember that I worked on your house before? Yeah. And they said, yeah, Mr. Sharp. Bruce said, I do remember you. Yeah, absolutely. And so they talked about whether the work that he had done and whether they liked it and how it was holding up and all that shit. How's it holding up? How's it going? Oh, it's good. Yeah, we like this. We're going to add this onto here. They're talking about house shit, basically. They said that they liked the job that he did and everything like that. At that point, Walter told Bruce, he says, look, man, my car broke down over here. And I remembered I had worked at this house, so I knew you guys and I saw you outside. So I figured I'd come over here. Do you mind if I use your phone to call a tow truck? I'm stuck here, which seems totally reasonable. Right. Oh, good thing he's here instead of in the middle of nowhere. Good deal. So they said, yeah, of course, come on in and use the phone. So they allow him into the house to use the phone. At that point, Bruce and Walter are having a conversation about tools. Yeah. For some reason, because he's a carpenter, he has tools. They're tool guys, you know. That makes sense. They're both handy. At one point, they go down into the basement of the house because Bruce wanted to show Walter an antique that he had in the basement.
An antique tool.
Yeah, some kind of old.
You're going to appreciate this.
Oh, check this out, what I got down here. One of those.
This was made before you was born.
That's anything. Yeah. My grandpappy gave it to me. It's one of those deals. I love how they're a Jersey outside of Philly. We've just given them Southern accents. I should be like, hey, these fucking guys, come in the basement. Oh, and instead I'm giving them.
Wait till you see the fucking metal on this thing.
It's his behavior. It's very
hillbilly.
It's hillbilly. It doesn't mean it's not Southern. It's hillbilly. Yeah. It's panhandle. Panhandle accent we're giving him.
Such shitty behavior.
So I guess at that point, Bruce went back outside, and Walter then went upstairs and started rifling through the bedroom for jewelry. At that point, when Bruce went outstairs. Alice walks in and catches him as he is going down the stairs because he wasn't supposed to be upstairs. Now he's coming downstairs, and she's like, what
are you doing up there?
Yeah, with handfuls of jewelry. So Alice starts yelling to Bruce hey, Bruce, he's coming down. He's upstairs. What's going on? Bruce, yelling for Bruce. At that point, this is how hand to mouth this situation is. At that point, Walter, just freaking out because she's making a lot of noise, grabs a ceramic vase that's sitting there and just smashes her in the head with it. A fucking ceramic vase just in the living room. And just like, shut her up. Smashes her in the head with a ceramic vase, okay? Breaks it all over the place. This is right in the entryway of the house. And he hits her a few times with it until it fucking breaks. That's the other thing.
And also because he probably just realized, oh my God, that's not like the movies. They don't just fucking go out now.
And then they go unconscious. Yeah, no.
It takes a few times.
You got to beat a second grade teacher a bunch of times before they go down with that. Not like in the movies where you hit a second grade teacher once, they just go right down. You hit a 60-year-old, 59-year-old second grade teacher once, and they collapse to the ground.
A bottle of beer knocks them out.
Done.
A bottle of beer in a bar, it gashes them open, and now they are pissed.
Huge man. Huge man. Cowboys. Hat and everything. Pow. So at that point, Bruce Sharp comes in and says, "The fuck are you doing?" Obviously. Said, "Why are you hitting my wife?" At that point, he says that Walter says that Walter pulled out a handgun that he had and told Bruce to lay on the floor.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah. Walter's the
Walter, not Bruce.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hell yeah. I'm like,
damn it.
Rob those.
I thought Bruce had a pistol in his pocket.
Rob that old fart.
Damn it.
Take that, you retired bastard. What do you think, you're going to live the rest of your life with your wife and your grandkids?
Be all happy? How dare you?
On the floor.
You narrated what I wanted to happen.
Exactly.
I wanted Bruce to come up, guns a-blazing, talking about, get on the floor, that's
he's
my
like,
wife.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's not what happened. The junkie has the gun here.
The junkie produced a handgun.
Yeah,
damn it.
Walter's gardening. It's So, or I'm not sorry, Bruce is gardening. Walter's got the gun. So, he says that he tells Bruce to lay on the floor. Bruce complies, lays down on the floor. Walter then says he pulls the trigger on the gun.
What the fuck.
But the gun misfires, doesn't fire.
Okay.
It's got a jam there. He says he pulled the slide back, chambered another round, and then shot him in the head.
Oh, my God.
And it worked, and he killed Bruce with a shot to the head after he listened and laid down. He probably thought he was being robbed, and he's like, I'll just comply, and, I'll go along with it, and hopefully this will be over soon. And it was over quicker than he hoped.
Yeah.
And, not great. So then he turned the gun and said, fuck it, I'll shoot Alice too.
Yeah.
Tried to shoot Alice, but the gun didn't work.
It's a shit weapon.
It's a shit gun that he's a junkie. I'm sure he doesn't clean it often. And at that point, he realizes, oh, fuck, I'm out of bullets anyway.
He had two.
One
two. Was a shitty round, and the other
one worked, and then he's done. So, at that point, he's fucking with the gun. He's pulling the clip out. He's doing the whole thing. He's realizing he's out of bullets.
Yeah.
He looks down and sees Alice trying to crawl her way out the front door.
Right.
She's trying to get out the front door. So he's like, what the fuck do I do? And obviously, by his vase thing, he's not that bright, and he's not that good under pressure. So he doesn't know what to do. So he just grabs a fireplace poker close by and hits her what he calls several times with a fireplace poker.
80.
Turns out more than 80.
Oh, boy.
So that's a lot more than several.
That's exhausting.
Basically, she was kept trying to go. That's why. She was really tough, and she was not going down without a fight, and she's trying to crawl out the door, so he had to beat her over 80 times to make it so I don't think she's getting out the door now.
What a coward.
This guy's a fucking coward. He then left the scene on the bicycle, encountering the man with the grass clippings, and he said he went in the backyard and got on a bicycle and left the scene on the bicycle. So he said that he went to a friend of his house who drove him to the mart where he got rid of his clothes. He said they went to Camden, bought 3 bags of heroin, shot up, and went back to Glassboro. That's his story. One of the detectives asked him what he did with the gun, and he says, it's under my mattress. Because he's a real bright guy. He kept it under. He threw the pants out the window, but I'll hang on to this gun that I have no bullets for. That's better. So they said, now can we have requests to search your room? And then this time he signed the request for him, because they're going to look eventually. Right. Not like he's going to hide it. You just told him where
it is. I think that's probable cause, right?
Probably, yeah. 2 people he just confessed to murdering and told us where the weapon is. Right. I think we can just go.
I think we got the warrant.
We just go there, right? We don't.
You can draft it while we're on our way,
We don't need to get him to say yes.
He's late. We don't want to wake a judge
fucking
up.
Idiot, right?
Let him sleep. We're going to get it, right?
We'll get it in the morning. It's fine. So he then at this point, he repeated his confession. The detectives say he repeated his confession into a tape recorder, and then he signed the cassette tape, and then the interrogation ended. So they said that he said all this first, and then he repeated the story into the cassette recorder.
That's a bit much.
So that's tough.
Yeah.
Now, on the way to jail, and this is important later, statements made by him after this interrogation was a little interesting here. There's a Detective Watson of the prosecutor's office who transported him. And Watson says that they were talking because Watson used to be a friend of his.
Yeah.
They were social acquaintances based on his brother's a cop.
Yep.
So they
went different ways.
I'm at the bar drinking. He goes, there's other cops there. Right. Everybody knows each other. And it's a small town. So you know everybody. You know your brother's friends. Right. This is one of those things.
Detective Watson, how many times has he razzed about
Watson?
being being fucking Sherlock's apprentice?
I don't know, Watson, elementary, right. Watson. Yeah, it's like, all right, I get it.
I get it, right. Listen,
the junkie did it.
I've been here for 12 years. I think the jokes are done.
Yeah, it's and it usually is too.
Right.
So, Watson escorts him from the interview room to a car and then drives him to jail from there. They started talking again. Hadn't talked in a long time. Hey, how you been? How's your parents? Well, not so great. Just murdered 2 people. And they
you've
found
got
out
handcuffs on, and I'm driving a cop car. This couldn't be more different, right?
Neither of us. Yeah, both of them. I think it could be better.
Looks like we don't have anything in common anymore.
Probably not. You know what? Never mind. You like football? You following this year? What are you, an Eagles fan?
That LT's pretty great, right?
It's pretty not too shabby. The Eagles do suck. So. At that point in 84, they were awful. So they were good for a couple of years before that, but then it fell apart a little. Then they got Randall Cunningham a couple of years after that. It came back.
They weren't very good still.
Reggie White, Jerome Brown.
They didn't win.
No. They were exciting in the late 80s, though.
Started to get some.
They were fun.
Some pizzazz.
So, they hang out. Now, he didn't explicitly, they say, they touched on his involvement in the murders, is what they said. They said that he didn't explicitly repeat his admission, but he made several incriminating statements. Now, he wasn't Mirandized again before he got in the car.
Yeah.
The detective here said that Walter, quote, had, quote, really gotten himself jammed up this time. That's what Walter said, which even if you're innocent, you could say they think I murdered someone. I really got myself jammed up here. Then he says that, quote, he could get the chair for what he had done. That's a little more incriminating than that. I could get the chair for what they're accusing me of.
Right.
He's saying, I said, I could get the chair for what I did.
You rarely get the chair for 50 burgles.
I mean, that's a really strict country.
Yeah.
That's super strict.
That is Cambodia or some shit like that.
Crazy shit. Yeah, well, they just shot you after the first one there, probably, back in the day. So he also asked Watson here whether Watson thinks he did the right thing by confessing. Because he's looking at him, he's talking to him like a friend.
Yeah.
He's talking to him like, I know a guy who works there, I'm going to ask how shit works, rather than he's a cop who's transporting me and will probably testify to this shit later. Right. It's literally like, well, I know a guy who works there, I'll see how they, file their stuff. Like, that's what he's looking at it like. So he says, did you think I did the right thing by confessing? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. I mean, you want to get it out there. Yeah.
Depends on your conscience.
You want to get, I think he tells him, like, because they always tell him, like, well, you want to get your side out there, right? Like, that's your side of the story, your confession. So, I mean, that's your statement. You want that to be entertained. You don't want it just to be what the prosecutor's saying, do you? He also asked him what effect his arrest might have. It's like he works at the DMV and he's like, can I renew? Is it extra for the personalized? Is that extra? Just look on the website.
If I move, how many days before I got to tell you?
What is it, like 30? What do I got? 2 months? 60? 90? What do we got?
10.
It's 10.
10
the
days.
Fuck out of here. 10 days.
That's what it is.
I'm going to get all this shit hooked up and I'm going to tell you, even though my electricity works still and my car drives, if I don't fucking tell you. If I don't tell the electric company that I moved, I can't watch TV. If I don't tell the DMV I moved, nothing happens. It's fine. No one cares. I can do everything I feel like doing.
Everything's all right.
Netflix works. I can smoke a bowl. Everything's great. So,
worst case scenario, they go, this is your current address, and then you either go yes or no. And you probably just go, yeah, that's fine. No,
I just moved. No fucking anyone has ever said a word about that. Really? Have you changed your address? No, they know no one does it and they don't care. It's the last thing anyone gives a shit about. So, he also,
well, that's so goddamn funny to me.
It's amazing.
I guess, I don't know, because I've fucking complied with that my whole life and now I'm like, why'd I did that?
Yeah, for what? What do they care? What do you need to know where I am? Relax.
Why am I rushing back to this old broad at the window?
I'm not on parole.
At 11.
I'm not on parole. I'm not a sex offender. You don't need to know where I am at all times. It's fine.
Here for 2 hours every couple of years.
Worry about making the sex offenders tell us where they are, and the rest of us are fine.
That's a good point.
I'm good.
I don't touch kids.
You don't need to know where I am. It's private. I'm fine. Undisclosed bunker is where I am right now. At the end of a very tree, bushy, cave-like street. That's not how it is, but... So he also, Walter also asked this guy what effect his arrest might have on his brother at the police station. He goes, is this going to fuck my brother up? He goes, are they going to like all make fun of my brother? Is he not going to get promotions now?
No.
Is he going to like not get promoted? Is it going to fuck up his career that his brother's a murderer?
No,
is
we'll
that
talk
a problem?
about it.
I mean, we're going to make fun of him
for
a lot.
Sure.
But, mostly you. Right. Mostly we'll make fun of you.
You're the guy.
You know how that
Were you
goes.
planning on being a cop? Because that's over.
That's not going to happen.
Done. You will certainly not.
We'll
get
see how the
promoted.
trial comes out, actually. So we need people is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So he also expressed concern about his mother and how she was going to react. He literally was like, my mother's going to kill me. How's this? My brother's going to get made fun of at work. He's really worrying about things that don't fucking matter at this point. So after this, the Watson left Walter at jail. Watson made notes and then wrote a report concerning the conversation because he's a cop. He's not just some guy at the bar. He's also, working.
Sworn.
Yeah. Also, Carmen described Cafati, the guy who originally, I want it to be Cafati better. It's a better name. He also described a ring with a bright blue stone that Walter had admitted to stealing. The ring was never recovered, but Alice Sharp's close friend later on would say that Alice purchased a ring just like that a year before the murder. So they said, do you know of any jewelry? And she said she would have had this that she bought, she always wore, and that was the same thing that Carmen was describing. But they could never find it to make that a piece of evidence, but it's just another thing to connect it. Also, a carpenter who had employed Walter for a short time. He says that Walter had accompanied him, this carpenter, to the Sharps' home when this guy had occasion to do follow-up work on an installation. So he corroborated that Walter had been in these people's home with him before, so he knows for a fact that he's been there. And also the chief identification officer at the county prosecutor's office, he says that a footprint found at the scene matched Walter's sneaker, footprint in the blood. And a forensic expert testifies that blood found on his sneaker lace matches the blood of Bruce Sharp. Not the DNA, because this is 84, but the blood type. It matches the blood. Right. Has all the characteristics or whatever they have there. So this looks like a pretty good case. He's charged with 2 counts of purposeful knowing murder, armed robbery, theft, possession of a weapon with the purpose to use it unlawfully, possession of a weapon without a permit, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. Right. So a lot of stuff that's all very bad, and aggravators and everything else here. The prosecutor here, the assistant county prosecutor, Stephen Sand, said, quote, "The circumstances of this case are as brutal and as heinous as conceivably possible." Yeah. That's how they're starting this shit out. And he says, we're going to go ahead and recommend the old death penalty from a man, Walter, over here, based on the Alice brutality. Right. Bruce, too, because it's in the commission of a burglary, but the brutality of Alice is what's going to sell it.
That's crazy.
It's fucking crazy. To beat someone like that with a fireplace poker is that's brutal.
Because she's just tough.
And she said, why are you stealing shit from us? And then
you know why he hit
her
that many times? Because he fucking had to. Because she's tougher than him.
That's what it was.
Wow.
And that's what he'll say later on, too. She wouldn't fucking stop.
She wouldn't die. He had to hit her that's fucked up.
That's the A to B for I need heroin.
Right.
I need to beat her till she stops moving, then I can get heroin.
Right.
Like it's fucking, he was jonesing.
Yeah.
So, town reaction is freak the shit out.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a murder here in 4 years or almost 5 years, and that murder was a domestic murder. It was a husband killing a wife, and they were like all fighting and all the time, and it was like, oh, those two. It wasn't
Nobody was surprised.
Nobody was surprised. Right. It wasn't nice people killed by a stranger in their own home, which is the scariest thing there is.
In a horrible way.
This is the worst. This is the way you don't want things to go down the most, because you figure at least in your home you're safe, you know, from outsiders anyway, from people who live with you. Who knows?
And this is like you
could kill me from
anybody's house.
Anybody's, now Al the barber, he owns Al's barber shop.
Of course he does.
Al Lounsbury. Al says, I couldn't believe it. That's what he says. He goes, these were the nicest people you could imagine. Who would do such a terrible thing, especially in a little peaceful town like Pitman? The biggest crime we had maybe was throwing stones at pigeons before.
Right.
That's what he said. Fucking Al's my man.
Did he say that part about the pigeons?
The biggest crime we had was maybe throwing stones at pigeons. See that? That's an actual newspaper screenshot.
Unreal.
I'm fucking real. Hey.
Yeah.
Who needs a cut? Let's go. No waiting on chat 2. Move your asses. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for business.
Yeah.
My name's in it. Make sure you spell it right.
Yeah.
Al's apostrophe barber shop. I'm Maine. Yeah. No. Put it right. Do it. Sorry. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I am the owner, obviously.
I'm Al, obviously. Now, at trial here, Walter's defense attorneys, they try to suppress his confession, saying that
that ruins everything for us.
Put my arms out. I mean, where do we go from there?
Obviously, we want this suppressed, Your
Clearly,
Honor.
we'd like the preponderance of the evidence to not be involved in this trial is really what we'd like to have. Is that possible?
We'd like to say and mean they have no evidence, Your Honor. We would like to say and mean that.
Is that a thing? Can we do that?
Can we throw all this in the trash?
I'm going to file a do-over. I'm going to do this piece of paper here. It's a memo for a do-over. It's a motion, do-over motion. It's very official.
Is there a motion to put all of this into a trash compactor? Can we do that?
Just throw it out. We don't need it. This is garbage, right? So,
blood, gross.
Nasty, right? There's spatter. Ew.
Gross.
So The attorney says, look, he was a victim of heroin withdrawal.
Yeah.
He had shot up earlier. They had him in the police station for a few hours. He was getting sick, and he would have said anything to get out of there because he was fucking itching, man. It's heroin withdrawal, and he was coerced into a confession. He's not that bright to begin with, and he's withdrawing from heroin. So basically, anybody could have got him to confess to that. That's what they're saying. They say, no, that's coming in.
I don't care.
Good. Yeah.
No. I get alcohol shakes, and I'm not saying shit for a Bud Light. I'm not saying anything that's not true to stop these shakes.
I killed people.
No.
So they also have blood spatter testimony here, and that's Lieutenant Reeves who questioned him. He is he's the guy there. He's an expert in blood spatter analysis. They say that Reeves's, as the state says, Reeves's interpretation of blood stains at the scene of the crime enables him to draw conclusions regarding the position and movement of the victims at the time of the attack, and that they can kind of reconstruct events a little bit from there, which is what blood spatter does. If you've ever watched an episode of Dexter, that's his fucking job. It's hard to do, and you don't see it that often, but in a case of a poker like this, it's an obvious...
It's a cast-off. They're slinging it everywhere.
There's cast-off, and there's all sorts of shit. And with the gunfire, too, you're going to be able to set a scene with two different people with spatter in different directions. You're going to be able to figure out sort of what happened here. Now, the states say they tried to introduce 46 color photographs depicting various blood spatters at the crime scene. This is their way to get a bunch of color photos in to talk about the blood spatter, because the jury has to look at them, and then you get to see the absolute brutality of the whole thing. Several showed the bodies of the sharps covered in blood as well, to see the blood spatter. So this is that's what the state does. So obviously, Walter Johnson's attorneys challenged the assertion that blood spatter analysis is an accepted field of scientific analysis, and they vigorously contest Reeves's expertise in the field. And they're like, "Yeah, no, we do that. That's a thing that we do. It's really, really common, especially pre-DNA. They needed that more than ever." They also argue, the defense, that the admission of the blood spatter testimony and the photographs violates his right to due process in a fair trial, because these are excessive on the photographs.
It's inflammatory.
That's inflammatory, is what he's saying. They said the expert testimony was merely a vehicle for admitting gruesome photographs into evidence to inflame the jury and increase the likelihood of the death penalty. And the prosecutor said, absolutely. That's what we fucking do here.
That's the whole point.
Ever watched a murder trial? That's how we roll.
You also going to say that the judge demanding that everyone rises is paying too much credibility to him as a person?
Is that what you're saying?
Are you saying he's more superior than everyone in the room?
How dare you? So the state contends that the blood spatter testimony, quote, provided the jury with a virtual eyewitness view inside the Sharp home on the afternoon. That's going a little far. It's not an eyewitness view, but it gives you an idea.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's a little gross. They also assert that the testimony provided the jury with information that Mr. Sharp had laid on the floor and was shot while he was not fighting, struggling. He was complying, which makes it worse, and that Mrs. Sharp had been struck more than once with the ceramic vase, and had suffered, all these injuries, and also that she struggled and fought as well, because that's bad also. They also say that that Reeves's testimony contradicts the defense theory that others, because the defense is going to come out later on and say he wasn't alone. He didn't kill these people. There was other people there, and they killed him. And so they said that the spatter shows that didn't happen. And Alice Sharp's attacker acted alone, is what the crime scene says. The defense argues that the testimony is not, of any value except for, they're taking... they said his testimony is just a conclusion that he drew on his own, and blah, blah, blah with Reeves. They're saying that the testimony is not relevant, and the prosecutor says it is, and they let it in, obviously. Also, the footprint identification, they're saying there, a fingerprint identification expert testified that a footprint found at the crime scene had been made by the sneaker. Now, Walter argues that it was this shouldn't have been admitted because they didn't have a big qualifying thing as an expert to see if he was specifically trained in footprint identification, and this shouldn't have been in. So they have a big fight about this, and they eventually let it in, which seems like pretty good appeal fodder as well.
Eventually.
They're eventually going to do that. He also challenges the admissibility of his oral and taped confessions. That's the big one that he said, we'd really like to not have those in here. They do that.
Anytime the words of the person on trial, of them saying, I fucking did it, anytime that can be pulled out,
that's bad. Let's get rid of that.
Right.
He said that his right to remain silent was not scrupulously honored, is what it is. They said that that crucial period between 2:40 and 4 a.m. from when he cracked and stopped having his hands behind his head and was being taken out of there after a full confession. They said something in there was different, and they asked these detectives. They go into, excruciating detail, and I'm not going to read the fucking Q&A of it, but I'll give you like one question and answer to give you an idea of what the whole thing is. And it's, quote, here's a question to Reeves here. Quote, just when he said he couldn't talk about it, he would hang his, did you have any instances with him on that night where his responses were, in fact, not responsive to the question of the area of questioning? And Reeves says, just when he said he couldn't talk about it, he would hang his head and say he couldn't talk about it. And then we would ask him specific questions. And then he says, now at that time, as you progressed, did Walter Johnson's behavior change in any way? He became quieter, hanging his head. So it's very my God, excruciating. I had to read all this.
Fucking redundant.
It's redundant and excruciting. I'm not going to fucking go over it because I read it all. I reviewed it for you. There's nothing in there of any importance. It's horse shit. This was my 2:40 a.m. to 4 a.m. last night was reading this horse shit going, I'll tell you what's changing for me at 3 a.m. This goddamn fucking document that I don't want to read anymore.
You basically just declicked the clickbait for us.
That's it. It's awful. Jesus, that is terrible.
This is bullshit. Don't read it.
Don't read this.
Okay.
They said that there was a lot of periods of contemplation and silence while they would ask him questions. He would lose eye contact. They go over all of that. They also, the defense counsel stresses here the lack of documentation and the timing of the circumstances and were there any breaks. He said, so you gave him several breaks and cracked him about a murder in an hour and 20, basically, is what they're saying. That seems a little, from 2:40 to 4 o'clock, he went from fast. I didn't do shit to take me to jail, like statement done and signed and over with and recorded on a fucking tape, and that's a little fast.
That doesn't sound like heroin withdrawal, though.
Yeah, or it is because he's immediate. If I get out of here, but then what? They're not going to give him heroin.
That's my point. That's why it doesn't sound like heroin withdrawal because a guy's just going to be like, "All right, now you're going to give me that black tar, right?"
I guess so. Russ is going to be puking all over you. Yeah, remember?
I don't want to puke in here. I'd rather puke in myself.
More like,
that's what they're betting on.
If you don't end this soon, I'm going to be throwing up all over this room. So he said that they said that defense says that he sought to establish the likelihood that Walter had been seeking his right to remain silent because they kept saying, how many times did he say that he didn't want to talk about something? And they would say shitload of times. He kept saying that. We kept asking him, and they were like, well, isn't that him invoking his right to silence? He's saying he doesn't want to talk about it, and you can keep asking him about it.
That's a good question.
That's a close one because he's not saying I'd like a lawyer. I'm exercising my right to remain silent. He just says I don't want to talk about it.
He's not saying he's not talking about the crimes. He's saying he doesn't want to talk about the murders.
So
we could talk about the robbery and then maybe hint about the murder. And then if he talks about that, he's talking about that. But listen. Let's talk about that day you were in there stealing shit.
Let's start there and go from there. Jesus. He said also, didn't he indicate twice that he didn't want to sign a permission for a search? And they said, yeah. And they said, you kept bringing it up, right? And they said, yeah. And I guess Walter was saying that he didn't want to get anybody else in trouble is why he didn't want to do that. That was his excuse. It's, they go over the whole thing basically. And they said, do you know anything about him? Do you know that he's not that smart? And what, basically he says, quote, do you know what Mr. Johnson's educational background is? And the cop said, I don't recall. Yeah. And so they said, quote, would it surprise you to know that he's a high school dropout? Answer, I wouldn't be surprised at all. In other words, he seemed like a fucking idiot.
Seemed pretty dumb.
Question. So when you spoke about that card, it's not your contention that someone has to enumerate their rights as if he or she was a lawyer, is it? And he said that's correct. So you're not saying he has to say I legally invoke my right to remain silent, based on the blah, 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 blah. He doesn't have to do that.
No.
So whatever. So, in closing, for the closing arguments, the defense contends that the prosecutor made improper comments during the closing here as well. Later on, they're going to say this shit's improper. What the prosecution said was, he says that the prosecutor repeatedly alludes to the defendant's failure to testify in his own behalf, which you can't really do because that's your legal right.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say he's guilty because he's not talking.
He wouldn't even tell us what he didn't do.
That's the thing. You're not that's a given. They think that. You don't have to say that.
Right.
That's you can't really say that.
Reason.
Yeah. You don't have to testify, but probably look better if
Looks
you did.
bad.
It's one of those things. But it worked for OJ, so there you go.
And sometimes it's like, I don't have anything to say about this matter. I'm not even going to give it the dignity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I'm not even going to let it go.
Right.
Also, so he didn't testify on his own behalf. Also, they says that he would say, he told the jury that the defendant's failure to make eye contact with the jury was suggestive of his guilt. He goes, you've seen him in here. He wouldn't make eye contact with you. He knows he's guilty and all that sort of shit.
This prosecutor's got a great case and he's fucking it up.
He's trying to fuck it up. Yeah. So, then the judge let all this go. In the defense's closing here, their summation, they give a new theory of the case.
Yeah.
I know you guys have watched the trial for a few days and this has all been laid out and there's evidence and people talked. Throw that all out.
Yeah.
Okay? This is what really happened. He says, my review of the evidence, the defense counsel says, I've been reviewing the evidence and putting this together. I'm a thinker. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
I've been putting this together. And he said, he didn't act alone. My client did not act alone. He said, this didn't happen. He says that, yes, Walter was there. And yes, he did shoot Bruce Sharp. That he did. There's no question. We were not going to deny that. He had the gun, fingerprints, the whole deal. He shot him. Yeah. But he says it was his acquaintances that killed Alice, not him. He said it was Gerald Smith and Carmen Katafi who killed them. Killed him dead. He said, so he didn't kill Mrs. Sharp, so he shouldn't be eligible for the death penalty even for that crime. And you can argue about the Bruce one, but you shouldn't even be able to argue about the Alice one, because obviously it was those other two people who I just brought up now. who we have no evidence of, and Katafi. Fat Kitty. And I literally just brought up now.
Right.
Even though they cooperated from the start and told us exactly what happened. Wow. Verdict here. Jury, after 4 hours, they find him guilty of 2 counts of knowing and purposeful murder, as well as robbery, theft, and a bunch of weapons charges. So everything. They run the whole gamut on him. Penalty phase of the trial here. Looking for aggravators at this point, obviously.
There's a lot of them.
There's a few. The aggravators in specific that they're going for are the offense was committed while he was engaged in the commission or attempt to commit or flight after committing or attempting to commit a robbery. So there's a robbery. 2, the murder was committed for the purpose of escaping detection, apprehension, trial, punishment, or confinement for another offense committed by the defendant or another. And 3, the murder was outrageously, wantonly, vile, horrible, or inhuman in that it involved torture, depravity of mind, or an aggravated battery to the victim.
Goddamn, all 3 of them.
Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3.
Done.
That's a tough one. So the jury, there was also a 4th aggravator here in the commission of the murder. He purposely or knowingly created a grave risk of death to another person in addition to the victim. That one the jury had a hard time finding because they probably didn't really understand it that well. And they just fuck it. We got 3 out of 4.
Doesn't matter.
The jury found the same aggravating factors in both murders. So then because they had this, their sentencing is separate for both murders. So then they had to do deliberations concerning mitigating factors for each murder. And the mitigating factors differed somehow for each murder. We'll talk about that. With Bruce Sharp, they found that there were only relevant factors in mitigation, and the fact that he was a kind of a fuck up. The defense said that their mitigating factors were emotional disturbance, his age, which 24 is not very young or old, mental disease. He's got no significant criminal history, no violent history. He's got shitloads of arrests and that sort of shit. So they found only that he didn't have any significant criminal history because he had no violent crime there. They said that he grew up, for his mitigating, the defense psychiatrist testified that he grew up with an emotionally abusive family that lacked support. He used drugs to cope. They said he did not intend to kill when he entered the home. He was remorseful and all that sort of shit. They said that he has addictive diseases, testifying that he's got horrible drug addiction, and he was under the haze of this heroin withdrawal at the time. They said he was also depressed. He had a personality disorder and was in heroin withdrawal. They also said he had a borderline IQ, low self-esteem, and responds emotionally to situations without considering the consequences.
Cool story.
So, yeah, he's like a dumb, teenage girl is what they said. He responds emotionally, or boy, a dumb teenager is what he said, except he killed 2 people.
Right.
So that's the difference.
This is bad excuses.
Yeah. He brings a reverend in to testify for him.
Of course.
Reverend Michael Doyle,
who
takes his finger out of a kid long enough to testify. I'm just sorry. I couldn't help myself. So he testifies here. He says that for Walter Johnson, he says that he met Walter Johnson here, visits him in prison, and he says that he's concluded that Walter's not a bad person. He's just a, quote, young man in a very sad situation. He said his downfall came when he started running with the wrong crowd as a child. He said that Walter's remorseful for the murders and had prayed for the Sharps while he's in jail. He's praying for them. They said, he's praying for him.
Are they coming back?
That's fine. We'll get him back. Also, Walter's now former wife, who's now divorced him.
Sure.
She shows up, and her in-laws are this is not what you want. Your in-laws testifying during your penalty phase. Bad stuff. They said that he stole checks and money and money orders and tools from them as well. And he's just basically a thief. They all suggested, though, that he should be kept alive for the sake of his 5-year-old son. They even brought pictures of him and his son to say he loves his son. Look, here's him with his son. Jesus Christ. Johnson takes the stand to, testify on his own behalf in the penalty phase, which is smart here. He says that he's embarrassed by the murders. He doesn't want to be sentenced to death. He says, I didn't want to hurt anybody that day. Really? He said he was out looking for some place to rob when he saw the Sharps, asked them to use the telephone, and, went over the whole thing. He said that Bruce Sharp seemed like a nice person, and so he thought he would let him in. And so the assistant county prosecutor here said at the time, quote, did you ever think, well, this is a nice guy, so maybe I should go off and rob someone else?
Yeah.
Like, if he's such a fucking nice guy? And Johnson replied that he didn't think that. No, I just thought, easy mark. Can roll this guy.
I thought I can do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He said he struck Alice in the head with his fist when she found him rummaging through her valuables, and then hit her with the vase. He said that he later shot the husband in the head, and the wife was such severity that they said that Jesus Christ, he bent the wrought iron poker on her. Actually bent it on her. That's
sweet Pete. Jesus.
Actually bent wrought iron's fucking strong.
You sucker.
Try to bend wrought iron.
Yeah.
It's real fucking hard.
You motherfucker.
It's made to not move anywhere. They build gates out of it and shit.
Jesus.
So, yeah. He says, quote, I didn't think about what I was doing. He says, though, after he killed them, he also continued to search the house for jewelry. So he knew what he was doing there.
After he bent a poker on her.
Yeah, he said that his heroin addiction was his motivation. He said, quote, I never knew heroin was going to control my life that much. Heroin. Who knows? Whoever hears heroin's addictive, right? You never hear heroin's addictive, ever.
Had no idea it was going to make me do wild shit. Yeah,
people shoot up a couple times a year just to party, and they move along, right? Public defenders begging for his life, saying his kid is there. He has a kid, let him stay alive for his kid. They said that the murder of Alice Sharp, the jury found one mitigating factor, extreme emotional disturbance, insufficient to constitute a defense, though, to prosecution. They also weighed the aggravating and mitigating factors. In the murder of Bruce Sharp, they unanimously found aggravating factors did not outweigh the mitigating factors beyond a reasonable doubt. But in the murder of Alice Sharp, they unanimously found the aggravating factors do outweigh the mitigating factors, and you, sir, may fuck off. Death penalty for him, and a term of life imprisonment with 30 years of parole ineligibility for the murder of Bruce, too. Right. So just in case, we'll stick you there, too. So He appeals. Okay. Obviously, we'll go through this real quick because it's super interesting, actually. The prosecutor here, the assistant county prosecutor, said, quote, "It was a fair verdict then. It's a fair verdict now." He said, "Before this case, I didn't believe in the death penalty, but this case was the exception to that rule." Wow. He's such an asshole. Yeah. I only want to kill him.
He's that special.
That's what kind of asshole he is. Now, the Sharp son, John, who lives in Maryland there, the alive one, the killed by Viet Cong. Right. He said that regardless of the appeals outcome, one thing he knows, he said, quote, "We can't bring back my parents. That's not going to change." Right. So it doesn't fucking matter, really. What does Al the barber think is the important thing, though?
I'd like to know.
What's Al think? Al thinks, he says he's even more adamant now about this whole thing. He said the Sharps weren't only his friends, but friends of many people in town. They all fucking like these people. Right. He said, in fact, their generosity is what did it to him. He said, quote, "Kindness killed them." Oh. Kindness killed them.
He's right.
He said right now, quote, "The whole town would probably like to be the ones to pull the switch."
Yeah.
So they really...
Like, I got a straight razor. I could take care of it.
I'll kill this fucking guy right now. I'll inject him full of Barbasol right in his vein. That blue shit, he'll be dead in 3 fucking minutes. Trust me, I've used it before. It works really well. 3 fucking minutes. He'll
shit
drop.
Looks like 2,000 flushes.
Yeah, you ever seen that movie with Steve Martin where he uses Windex to do that or whatever? This is better. It's worse. Trust me. This Barbasol it kills lice, for Christ's sake. He's seen this shit in action. He also, he says at this point in his appeal that he says as a heroin addict, he argues a claim of diminished capacity and all this type of shit in his questioning and confession. He says his confession was coerced, and they kind of agree with him. They say it kind of was coerced because they say that he basically, they're saying what he kept saying specifically meant that he was saying he didn't want to talk about it. Was invoking his right to silence is what it was.
It's heroin speak for "I want a lawyer"?
It's basically, yes. They said questioning is not considered interrogation later on. We'll talk about this here quickly. The detective Donovan said that he repeatedly responded to questions, "I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it." That statement could be construed as an expression of the either emotional reluctance to admit guilt or desire to cut off questioning. In the face of ambiguity, the officers were required to stop the interrogation completely or to ask only questions narrowly directed to determining whether he was willing to continue. They're saying that you got to shift your shit and go, "Are you willing to keep talking?" Yeah. Which is, nobody does that. No. Now, his reluctance to answer questions, they said, was not confined to an isolated, ambiguous remark. He persisted for well over an hour in a pattern of prolonged silences and unresponsiveness, refusing to answer any and all questions about the murders. Under those circumstances, it was not the defendant's obligation to state his position more clearly. The police officers had the duty to determine specifically whether his uncooperative responses constituted an assertion of the right to cut off questioning. Yeah. It's on them. He's a junkie murderer. Right. It's on you guys to make sure the law is followed.
It's also on them to fucking
to get them to confession. The murder. That's the other thing. So that's the way. That's where people are.
The blind scales of justice.
That's the thing where you're like, shit, we don't want anyone going to, especially the death row, for a false confession. But this fucking guy did it too.
I'd like
to
get a confession.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we'd really like to get this asshole put in jail, specifically this guy. So they said the detectives did not scrupulously honor his right to remain silent. They said that this is in the appeal. "We appreciate it that it's that it is the rare suspect who confesses immediately after police questioning begins. Yeah. And police officers must be accorded reasonable latitude to conduct an interrogation in a manner that permits a reluctant suspect to overcome natural disinclination to confess to wrongdoing. Such interrogation will often encounter silence, denial, and evasive responses. We hold that only that when a suspect's silence and refusal to answer questions continues, as here, for a prolonged period and is characterized by statements conveying an unwillingness, that's when they should discontinue it." So they say they should, whether local law enforcement agencies should institute enhanced training procedures or deploy specially trained units in the investigation and preparation of capital cases, is way beyond our province. We can only observe and make suggestions. Now, they said that that's illegally obtained. So they said his other subsequent statements are then like the gun being found in his home. That is what they call fruit of the poisonous tree. That is fruit obtained by a shit tree.
Okay.
So that's a shit fruit now.
Right.
So yeah, you got a bad confession, which led you now to what is going to be bad evidence. You can't have that evidence. Anything that comes from that confession is all out too. So fruit of the poisonous tree. So that's gone on that. They throw the gun out. They also talk about the taped confession. Now they bring up Watson, who took him to the fucking jail. And he was allowed to testify to things in the car that he wasn't re-Mirandized for. And they say that he could get the chair, and they said that came up in court, and that's a big thing. They said they were voluntary statements. Under such circumstances, the connection between the coerced confession and alleged voluntary statements is too strong to ignore. So they're saying even here, because one of his first questions is, should I have confessed? Which then opened the door up to more questions, which is all fruit of the poisonous tree at this point.
God damn it, I hate our system.
This is fucking, well, it's just rough. You got to do it right.
You love our system, but you hate our system.
It fucks up sometimes.
It's got to be done the right way.
It's got to be right.
Yeah.
So they said basically, his concern. So the room search, all of that shit is garbage at this point. They said Katafi describing the ring shouldn't have ever been in court because they never found the fucking ring, so that's, circumstantial bullshit they shouldn't have had. Not even circumstantial enough. They also said that he was smeared with blood riding the bicycle, observed there. So they were saying that independent of the illegal confession and other evidence thereby rendered inadmissible, defendants' acquaintances Smith and Katafi not only testified by incriminating admissions, but also described how they encountered him smeared with blood riding the bicycle that the other guy saw him with. They talk about all that. Basically they say you can't fucking do that. Also, prosecutorial misconduct. Prosecutor made improper comments during the guilt phase, saying that, look at him, he didn't testify on his own behalf. That's and all that shit. You can't do that. Blood spatter evidence. They say they disagree with the court's ruling that the blood spatter testimony is admissible because it is part of the entire picture of the crime. They say that the amount of 42 slides depicting blood spatter and corpses here were too many, and that was presentation exposed the jury to too many, and it became basically it has to weigh probative value and just trying to scare the shit out of people. And if it's too far on the they're like, you could have shown them 10 pictures and it would have scared the shit out of them.
42 is a lot.
You wanted to fucking nonstop parade of horror, so they'd want to strangle this guy themselves. That's what you were looking for. So they said that shit should not be, and if there's a retrial, that blood spatter testimony should all be excluded as well. Also, they said that the trial court rejected his challenge to another aggravating factor. They said it is uncontested, however, that Bruce Sharp was killed before Alice Sharp. Before he was dead, the attack on Miss Sharp could not possibly have created a risk of harm to Mr. Sharp. So it was inappropriate to submit that as an aggravating factor to the jury too. Everything overturned, conviction and fucking sentence, not just sentence, conviction overturned, everything overturned. Retrial, 1991. He just pleads guilty.
Smart.
He's still got people like, we were with him when he told us that, blah, 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 and all that shit. So he accepts a plea bargain in which prosecutors agree not to seek the death penalty if he pleads guilty for murder here. Now, before sentencing is imposed, the victim's son gets to talk. He gives a 10-minute speech here. He's 40 years old at this point. He said that he's accepted the plea bargain because he feared the high court would not uphold another death sentence if there were a retrial. He said, quote, I've waited a long time, and then he was showing, he was staring at him like to talk to you, and he said, quote, but I want you to know that I feel Walter Johnson should be executed. This is a very difficult and bitter pill for me to swallow. This court sentences him, you, sir, may fuck off again, 60 years in prison without parole.
Wow.
So it's life with 60 years without parole.
Okay.
So he ain't getting out. No, I mean, he's 30s. He could get parole when he's like 92, which is a stretch.
A ways out.
Someone will stab this idiot well before that.
He's going to die in there before that.
Probably. He's a junkie. He's going to get some bad shit.
Yeah.
We don't know, but
holy shit.
He's still in prison. That's Walter. He's been in prison since 1984 and goddamn well deserves it. 35 years.
40 to go.
He's still got got a bunch more to go. Because I don't know if that
30
counts.
To go?
I don't know if
30 to go.
that new sentence, I don't know if that counted time served or not for an extra 6, but yeah, he's got at least another 30 before parole. So good luck, Walter, there.
Enjoy
you
your
fucking
life,
asshole.
Wally.
Yeah, I'm sure he's having a wonderful time in prison.
How old is he in there? Probably 60?
He was 30 in 1991.
Okay.
So
he is
30 or 31. So
carry the one.
that is going to make him
74.
That's going to make him about 60 years old right now. Yeah, he's about 60, so it's not going great for him. And all this to steal some jewelry and a little cash to get heroin.
Wow, man.
Fucking ridiculous. So that's Walter Johnson, Pitman, New Jersey, Alice and Bruce Sharp and their poor, sad demise. And,
so fucked up.
Carmen Katafi and Gerald Smith and all the Detective Watson. They're all there.
Oh, it's so depressing.
It's very depressing. And if you're not depressed, if you're not too depressed, tell us how much you like that story by going to Apple Podcasts, the purple icon, and give us a review. 5 stars would be great. Doesn't matter what you say. Say these assholes are for... You can't say assholes on there.
Say fat kitty.
These people are forcing us to do this. We don't care.
Right.
It's not for our ego. It's just for business purposes. And honestly, it helps drive us up the charts a lot. So do that. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. All sorts of new merchandise. Cheer up bitch things with the skeleton hand and the pill bottle are awesome. Get those. They'll look good on everything. They're really, really cool. All sorts of other new stuff on there. Only live show tickets available right now. Or it's an April 8th Crime and Sports at Zany's in Nashville. Everything else is sold out. Full slate of 2020 shit coming up very soon. Like I said, Northwest, Portland, Denver, Salt Lake City. I know you're not Northwest, Portland or
Portland,
Denver.
Seattle.
But I'm just saying Northwest and down from there. San Fran will be back, through there. There too. All of the weed legal states will be there. Don't you worry. You can't keep us out of there. And even Utah for some reason. But we'll be there. It's 8 hours. Do the show and get out.
Very briefly.
Back
on our way back to Denver.
Back on better ground here. Yeah. So we'll do that shit. We'll be all around. We're going to go to different cities too. Boston, New York. We're looking at you guys that we missed this tour.
I love Boston.
Cities that we missed on this tour, we're definitely going to try to get back to because we had a good time. We're even going to try to get to like Toronto, Buffalo, somewhere around
that be
there.
Nice?
That'd be cool. We're going to have a good time though. So keep checking us out like that. And if you want to find out as soon as we know when these tour dates are, you can do it very easily by following us on social media at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Follow us there. Get up to date everything, and you'll know all about it. And also, if you want to be a hero of ours, and God damn it, we really have to tell you people, you're our heroes. Truly, this list that we're going to read right now, and
goddamn angels,
you guys are the best. And you keep this show your show because you have no idea. Whenever I listen to another podcast and I hear hosts having to talk about dick pills, and I'm just like, nope, not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. And I'm not doing it because we don't have to do it, because instead we go, you know what? Our patrons give us enough to where we can turn down basically 97% of the ads we're presented with, unless it's something we like and we think you'll like. We're like, nope, sorry. And they're like, why don't you just do it? It's easy money. And we're like, don't think people would like it. And we'd feel stupid reading it. So no thanks.
I feel like an asshole.
Why do you do that? I'm like, because you don't own the show. You know what it is? We give a shit what our fucking audience thinks of the show, not what our network thinks of the show, and honestly not what the sponsors think of the show. Because at the end of the day, you guys are all that matters. Networks could crumble, advertisers can go out of business, things could happen like that. We could
still be on the air.
We could still be on the air because we have you guys and an audience. So we're going to go ahead and stay real loyal to you guys, and everybody else can stick their heads up their asses. If that sounds good to you, awesome. And if you want to donate to the show and be one of these fine people who keep the show the way it is, you can do that so easily. Just go over to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or go over to PayPal if you want to make a one-time donation. You can use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. You can also use that email address to get a hold of us if you want. Do all of that, make your donations, and make us just I don't even know. We're both humbled and proud at the same time, which is a weird thing to be about. Well, thank you for everything.
It's very hard to do both, but we figure it out.
It's true. Somehow it is.
It's because of you guys.
Blown away, and we're proud that we give you something that you would actually pay for, even though you don't have to. That's fucking amazing. So thank you, Jimmy. Why don't you just, you know what, sing it. Tell us these damn people who are going to sneak in our house and beat us with a fireplace poker right now.
This week's executive producers are Heidi Porter, Don Smith, Milnelia Merced, I think, Renee Byrne, Jordan Bennett, of course, and Simon Bennett. Thank you,
guys. You guys, by the way.
Unbelievable. She was
in Chicago.
Oh my gosh, she's a hero. She fucking saved somebody's life at the gym.
Rocks, man.
Unbelievable. And Tanya Volanek, thank you guys so much for what you do. We can't do it without you, and that's real. Sam Lang, other producers this week. Sam Lang, Michaela Mendiola, Dylan in Cantalupo.
Yep. Hey,
Melissa,
Dylan!
Melissa Houston.
In Cantalupo, get over here! You've heard that once or twice.
I'm sure he has. Melissa, Dylan, not Dillo.
It's Dylan.
Yeah. Alyssa Martin Davis, Jonathan Ostrowski, Eric Komodowski. What? Yes, there's two skis right after each other. Lindy Tristram.
How dare two Polish people donate at the same time?
How dare they? Anne-Marie Gearhart, Jenna Fisher, Renee Tabata, Brooke, with no last name, Maggie Silverman, Brenda Hopper, Michael Oling, Oliver. That's what that is. Christy Thomas. Yeah. Pamela Dennis. I almost did it again. Unfucking real. God. How dumb can you possibly fucking be? Emma Johansson, Stephanie Ojeda, Wade Osborne, Casey Millar. If you think I'm bullshitting you, there's your proof. I almost did it twice. Stephen Hess, Jennifer Phelps, Jamie Street, Rebecca Manners, Justin Suter, Britton Edwards, Rachel Pack, Jimmy Lewis, Jessica Teague, Nancy Daly, Chris K. Wicken, Thomas Smith. I think I said that. I don't. Mackenzie Boland, Ren McKnight, Alaya Turner, Alana. I think it's Alana. I'm not sure. I apologize. John Lassa, Chris Pearsall, Peter Regenfelder, Don McBride, Casey Asianwall. No, Aspenwall.
Hey,
that's what that says. Kim Radisky, Larissa D, Will Scroggin, Ashley Vio, Kitty Anderson, Carol Williams, Jesse Hartman, Clardia Beatty, E Gao or Ego. I'm not sure. That could be somebody trying to be slick and smooth. You may have got me. Easy Tire and Battery. That's what that is. There's a Y. Okay. So Google them, see if they're in your area. Joe with no last name, Heather Marie, James Martyr, RJ Perry, Caleb Ferry, Sonny Johansson, Jillian Amborn, Derek Walton, Liz Vasquez. Thanks, Liz, for everything.
Thanks,
You're
Liz.
always so nice to us.
Yeah, we love Liz.
Kelly Wolf, Don Marie Bevan, Catherine Collado, Meridian Naylor, Vanessa Fajardo,
Nice recovery.
Peyton Meadows, Dana Matthews, Jamie with no last name, Ryan Benner, B-E-N-N, Benner, Carissa B, Maya Robert, Reagan Shalkley, Suzanne Mandel, Brian Evans, Susanna Rodriguez, Liz Dibble, Liz Nelson, Amy Spicer, Jess Willis, Reagan Shalkley. I said that. Thank you, Reagan. You're so nice to us. Matt Phillips, Louise Rayfield, Justin Miller, Stephen Rude, Martin Brown, Catherine Judd, Stephen Musgrove, Jackie. What, Kathy? What? Jackie Suka, Christy McDowell, Andrea Webster, Tyler Williford, Clay Thorson, Pierce DeCourcy, Urban Farms Foods, Gianna DeLuca, Adam Udani, Rebecca Ivani, or Ivani.
Hey.
I'm probably not Ivani. Krista Walker, Jacqueline Edmiston, Marshall Walker, Stephanie Igoa, Nathan Little, Jennifer Bowler, Tanya Hall, Jude Kendall, Talisha Welker, John Aston. Nope, that's Austin. Scott McDonald, Gary Howard. Thank you very much.
Gary.
Tara Monzo Stratman, who came to the St. Louis show, and all of our Patreon supporters. You guys really, we cannot over or understate the amount of help and how much we really fucking appreciate your support.
Jimmie is slinging live hard truths right now, and that's the truth. Like we said before, it's you make it possible for us to make a show that we think you would like, rather than a show that we think sponsors would like.
You make you make our road easier, and you make it
so much, man.
So much more comfortable to get to you guys and be at shows.
It makes it possible
when we can't take flights that are $900 from KC to St. Louis, and you guys make it just so convenient to be able to rent a car and make it to those shows and do it comfortably.
Your support helps us do that kind of shit, and we can actually, live like human beings.
Right.
And
the dignity is so lovely.
I mean, a little bit of dignity anyway. No, we're not asking for too much.
Hanging on to dignity.
We are comedians. We expect to not have much dignity. But just a drop sometimes when you're on the road, that little drop of dignity goes for miles. It's so weird. It can take you so far.
Rather than riding a Greyhound, we're able to be in our own world.
It's like a quarter tank in a Prius. We can go forever on it.
You can set the AC to how comfortable you would like it, James.
That's right.
Great.
It's all good, but Jesus Christ. That said, what if people wanted to find you and set your AC? How could they do it?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And really, if you guys follow us, sometimes the show doesn't get the tweet. Sometimes we get the tweet of tickets being available somewhere that otherwise you wouldn't be able to see. If you're looking for things like that and you want to be in contact with us, that's where you find us. Where can they find you?
Definitely. If you'd like to murder me in my home with a fireplace poker, you can do that by finding me very easily at Jimmie P is Funny, or just copy and paste my last name, or my whole name, I guess, from the show description to whatever you're looking for, and you'll find it in there. It's probably easier. You're not going to remember how to spell it.
You could find his driver's license online that says undisclosed bunker.
17 addresses ago. Undisclosed bunker.
17 undisclosed bunker drive.
With that said, I think it's time this week. Hope you enjoyed it. By the way, bonus episode this week will be on the documentary Stevie.
Right.
We're just going to talk about Stevie for a while because we've talked about it so much on both shows. We feel like
we'll go in depth.
We're going to need to go in depth on that, and then we'll do another murder case in 2 weeks on our next bonus episode. But till then, it'll be there. That's at the $5 level on Patreon and above, and also I think Stitcher Premium.
Yes,
where you find those.
Yeah.
One of the two. But give us your money, not them. Right. It's better. They're fine and all, but we'd rather have it.
All right.
You know how that works. But thank you guys so much for everything. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.